On her very first day in a new neighborhood, the rural girl found herself the victim of a most unfortunate welcome bird droppings right on her head. Her name is Chen Huan-er, a 16-year-old who grew up in a small seaside town but has now moved with her parents to the bustling city. Just as she was still flustered over the mess, a handsome boy appeared. His name is Jing Shi-chi, the sporty neighbor next door. Stopping in front of Huan-er to retrieve the ball he had just kicked, he casually reminded her to wipe the droppings off her hair. With an easy smile, he even offered her his towel before dashing away again, leaving Huan-er no chance to even introduce herself. Despite her humble background, Chen Huan-er carried a quiet confidence. Back in her hometown, she had once won the Sishui Star Award. During the award ceremony as a child, she had stuttered through her acceptance speech and become the target of teasing from her peers. But now, at 16, she was determined to turn things around. She carefully prepared a self-introduction speech for her new class. Yet, before she could deliver it, the teacher gave only a brief introduction and quickly assigned her to an empty seat. There, she found herself sitting next to Chi-chi, a curious classmate who immediately leaned over to ask the obvious question, "Where did you move here from?" Chen Huan-er answered that she came from Sishui Town, a place none of her classmates had ever heard of. Only Jing Shi-chi seemed to know. It was somewhere on the western edge of the city. In that moment, Huan-er realized he was the very same neighbor she had known as a child. During class, Jing Shi-chi secretly slipped on his earphones and rested his head on the desk. At one point, he opened his eyes and glanced toward Huan-er, leaving her flustered and unsure of how to respond. After school, Huan-er noticed that all the students had brought their own lunch boxes. When she asked Chi-chi, she learned the school had no cafeteria. Realizing that Huan-er had nothing to eat, Chi-chi quickly invited her to go out and buy food together, since her own lunchbox wasn't enough for two. On their way out, Jing Shi-chi spotted Chi-chi and asked her to pick up a hamburger for him. Chi-chi, seizing the chance, eagerly introduced Jing Shi-chi to Huan-er. He was, after all, the vice class leader for arts and sports. Then, with a curious smile, Chi-chi wondered aloud whether students from the countryside were usually exceptionally talented. Before Huan-er could respond properly, Chi-chi went on to ask her for help with schoolwork. Embarrassed, Huan-er denied being especially good at studying, but Chi-chi simply assumed her new friend was being modest. That illusion didn't last long. After their very first test, Chi-chi ended up at the very bottom of the class rankings, and Huan-er placed just above her. Feeling guilty, Huan-er apologized, confessing that letting Chi-chi copy her answers hadn't done either of them any favors. Jing Shi-chi, too, apologized to Chi-chi, half in jest, saying he was sorry for doing too well on the test, which meant he couldn't stand alongside her at the very bottom of the rankings. Just then, the teacher summoned all three of them to the office. He began with Chi-chi, shaking his head in disbelief, yet unable to hide a wry admiration. He remarked that he had never seen a student so perfectly copy every single wrong answer from the classmate next to her. Then he turned to Chen Huan-er. He remembered her parents boasting about her strong academic record. So why was it that she now seemed to have forgotten even the most basic knowledge? Finally, he addressed Jing Shi-chi, praising his noticeable improvement with an encouraging smile. Relieved, Jing Shi-chi promised to keep working hard at the very least, not to end up at the very bottom of the class. Back home, Chen Huan-er rehearsed a pitiful, guilty expression, hoping to soften her mother's inevitable anger. What she didn't know was that Song Kong and Jing Shi-chi, from the floor above, were quietly watching her little performance. When she finally stepped inside, the smell of roasted turkey filled the house. She tried to force herself to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. Flustered, she rushed to the bathroom, turned on the faucet, and pretended to sob beneath the sound of running water. That was when her mother, Li Na, suddenly walked in. Calmly, she told her daughter not to waste water if she couldn't cry for real. As it turned out, the teacher had already called her before Huan-er came home. But instead of scolding, Li Na reassured her. She explained that city schools had tougher lessons and sharper students, yet she firmly believed in her daughter. To her, Chen Huan-er was still the Sishui star, and she would not be defeated so easily. After dinner, Li Na brought her daughter over to the home of her close friend, Lin Yi-fan. To Huan-er's surprise, Lin Yi-fan's son turned out to be none other than Jing Shi-chi. Just then, Mr. Jing returned home, scolding his son for leaving his smelly shoes scattered about. Only when he stepped into the living room did he realize there were guests, and that the little girl he once remembered had now grown into a young lady. Li Na explained that she had come so her daughter could learn from Jing Shi-chi's study habits. Mr. Jing, however, chuckled at the idea. In his eyes, his son excelled only in sports. Quickly smoothing over the awkward moment, Lin Yifan changed the subject, asking Huan-er and Jing Shi-chi to head into the kitchen to wash some fruit. Inside the kitchen, Jing Shi-chi immediately handed off all the work to Huan-er. Still, he couldn't help noticing her slightly swollen eyes. Teasing yet gentle, he guessed she had been crying, before reassuring her with a quiet confession. He himself had often ranked at the very bottom of the class in the past. Finally, he asked if she was close to Chi-Chi. When Huan nodded, Jing Shi-Chi wasted no time announcing to his parents that he would start walking to school with her from the next day. He even enlisted his best friend Song Kong to tutor her on the side. The following morning, as Huan stepped out of her house, she suddenly found herself face to face with Song Kong. Embarrassed, she greeted him shyly. At that very moment, Jing Shi-Chi came downstairs and casually introduced her as the childhood little sister he had once grown up with, declaring that from now on, the three of them would go to school together. Hearing this, Song Kong guessed that Chen Huan might just be the reason Jing Shi-Chi was no longer doomed to finish last in class. To ease the awkward atmosphere, Huan offered the boys some pastries her grandfather had made. Jing Shi-Chi complained that they didn't taste very good, yet stubbornly refused to give his share back. On the way to school, Jing Shi-Chi asked his best friend to tutor Huan Song Kong agreed and immediately listed out the key points they should review together. Not only for Huan but for Jing Shi-Chi as well. Grateful, Jing Shi-Chi insisted that Huan bow and formally thank teacher Song. Furious at being bossed around, Huan snapped back, calling herself his older sister. Watching the two bicker, Song Kong could only laugh quietly from behind. As they arrived at the school gate, Huan ran into Chi-Chi. She told her new friend that she now lived in the same housing complex as Jing Shi-Chi and Song Kong. Chi-Chi, who had heard of Song Kong since middle school, eagerly explained that he was truly outstanding. Then, she pulled out some cookies her father had brought back from overseas and shared them. Song Kong politely declined, excusing himself back to class. His international program was held in another building. Moments later, Chi-Chi urged Huan and Jing Shi-Chi to hurry. Their first period was with Mr. Shu, and everyone knew what that meant. The top student, Li Tian, would surely raise his hand at every question. As expected, was quick to participate, but this time, Mr. Shu surprised the class by calling on Chen Huan instead. The moment she spoke, her distinct local accent filled the room, drawing laughter from her classmates. For the first time, Huan truly felt out of place in this new environment. After class, Jing Shi-Chi heads to the gaming cafe to practice his skills. Song Kong follows him, reminding him that his friend had promised to study with Chen Huan but Jing Shi-Chi makes an excuse, claiming he's busy, and tells Song Kong to tutor Chen Huan first. Back at home, Song Kong finds Chen Huan struggling with her reading. He recalls the rumors at school that a girl from the countryside often misreads words in class because of her regional accent, but her determination catches the attention of a top student like Song Kong. Approaching her, he invites Chen Huan to come up to his place. Song Kong explains that Jing Shi-Chi is busy practicing basketball and won't have time for tutoring. He then lends her 2 tapes that could help improve her pronunciation and begins reviewing the lessons with her. Throughout the session, Song Kong carefully observes Chen Huan's expressions, ready to guide her whenever needed. Aware of her shyness, he takes the initiative to explain, patiently, ensuring she feels supported. The next day at school, Chen Huan realizes she has accidentally picked up Song Kong's math notebook. At the same time, Song Kong goes to meet the vice principal to decline participating in the math Olympiad. The vice principal objects, pointing out that the international competition is filled with top talents, and the school can only send Song Kong to compete. Meanwhile, Chen Huan arrives at the international class, where her classmates mostly ignore her. Just then, she runs into Song Kong and returns his math notebook. A classmate approaches Song Kong, insisting that if he doesn't participate in the math Olympiad, they should take his spot. Hearing this, Song Kong informs Chen Huan that he must attend the competition after school. So, Chen Huan goes home with Jing Shi-Chi first. However, she wishes to wait for Song Kong to finish the competition so they can go home together. In the school restroom, Chen Huan accidentally overheard some classmates mocking her. They sneered that not only did she stutter and mispronounce words, but she also had the audacity to cozy up to the school's top student. At that moment, Jing Shi-Chi stepped in to defend her. Sternly, he warned them not to assume everyone was as mean-spirited as they were. Declaring that Huan was his friend, he forbade anyone from speaking ill of her behind her back, and, with his trademark sharp tongue, reminded them to keep their filthy mouths shut. Inside the restroom, Huan wiped away her tears and stepped out to face him. Jing Shi-Chi gently asked if she had heard everything they said. Then, as if to lighten the heavy mood, he playfully teased her until she cracked a faint smile. When Song Kong returned from his test, Jing Shi-Chi jokingly ordered him to make amends with Huan for not being there earlier. Flustered, she quickly changed the subject, asking why a self-proclaimed slacker like Jing Shi-Chi would be best friends with a top student like Song Kong. With a mischievous grin, Jing Shi-Chi recalled someone once telling him that diversity among species deserved respect. Leaving the two behind, he headed off to basketball practice, telling them to walk home home together. Back at the apartment complex, Hwan-er used the excuse of being busy to avoid troubling Song Kong for more tutoring. Once upstairs, she received a message from her mother saying she would have to work overtime, followed by a call from her father checking in. Hwan-er, hiding her weariness, put on a brave front and assured him everything was fine, but her heavy heart drove her outside again. She jogged laps around the basketball court, trying to shake off her feelings, when her phone suddenly rang. It was Jing Shi-chi. Worried after hearing from Song Kong that Chen Hwan-er is upset, he checks in on her. Chen Hwan-er tells him that she's standing on the rooftop at a height just enough to jump. Jing Shi-chi bursts out laughing and instructs her to jump slowly so he can respond in time. In fact, Jing Shi-chi has been watching her since her first step on the track. Chen Hwan-er thanks him for defending her at school. Hearing the sound of her rumbling stomach, Jing Shi-chi decided to extend his kindness. He took Chen Hwan-er to a secret hideout he shared with Song Kong, where the two boys had been raising a stray dog. Song Kong, knowing from his mother that Aunt Li Na had to work an extra shift at the hospital, brought food for Chen Hwan-er. Jing Shi-chi proudly introduced the cooking skills of Song Kong's mother as the best in the entire compound. When Hwan-er tasted the food, she realized the reputation was well-deserved. Jing Shi-chi then revealed that even their parents didn't know about this secret base. Just then, he called out to Song Kong, asking him to fetch more food for Hwan-er. At that moment, Hwan-er realized Jing Shi-chi had seen her practicing how to cry earlier. Both boys assumed she had been upset over poor grades. Though Hwan-er tried to explain, neither of them believed her. Seeing her embarrassment, Song Kong reassured her that everyone in the compound was like family. Jing Shi-chi then reminded her that since she had moved into the hospital staff housing, she needed to embrace the lifestyle here. If her mother was on night shift, she could freely join neighbors for meals. If she ever faced trouble, all she had to do was send the words "secret base" and they would gather instantly. For Jing Shi-chi, it felt wonderful to have gained such close friends in this little community. The next morning, Li Na hurried off to work without having time to cook for her daughter, leaving Hwan-er to head to school on an empty stomach. Luckily, she came across the lunchbox prepared by Song Kong. Jing Shi-chi reminded her to appreciate it, since the following morning would be his mother's turn to cook. In fact, within the hospital compound, the parents took turns preparing meals to support those working overtime. Yet, despite the good intentions, Mrs. Jing's noodles and Mrs. Chen's pastries were never exactly the crowd favorites. In class, whispers spread that Song Kong had handed in his test early, just to leave with Hwan-er. Chi-chi, who secretly harbored feelings for Song Kong, immediately tried to probe into their relationship. Hwan-er dismissed the gossip as nothing but baseless rumors, explaining that her remarkable improvement in math was simply thanks to Song Kong's tutoring. Hearing this, Chi-chi eagerly asked if she could also join their study sessions. Over dinner, Jing Shi-chi invited Song Kong to play video games, only to hear that he had to tutor Hwan-er again. Irritated, Jing Shi-chi teased her for studying every single day and still freeloading meals. Mrs. Ching quickly came to Hwan-er's defense, scolding Jing Shi-chi for never showing initiative in studying, yet always being the first at the dinner table. Feeling jealous that everyone sided with Hwan-er, Jing Shi-chi mischievously drank from her cup, ruffled her hair, and even ordered her to wash it clean. Song Kong, meanwhile, could only laugh at the pair's endless bickering like sworn frenemies. When Hwan-er went downstairs to meet Chi-chi, Jing Shi-chi finally calmed down. With a sly smile, he decided to stay home and join the study group. Mrs. Ching, ever attentive, brought out a plate of fruit for the kids before hurrying off to her mahjong game. Jing Shi-chi revealed that his mother and Li Tian's mother from upstairs conveniently made up a full mahjong table. Curious, Chi-chi asked why Li Tian never joined their study sessions. Jing Shi-chi explained that Li Tian, as the son of the hospital director, wasn't allowed to score lower than Song Kong. The study session began with Song Kong patiently going over the exam questions for his friends, but instead of listening, Jing Shi-chi kept inching closer to Chi-chi, prompting Song Kong to remind his best friend to stay focused. Meanwhile, Chen Hwan-er caught the fragrance of Chi-chi's hair and couldn't resist asking what shampoo she used. Soon, the girls slipped into their own chatter, while Jing Shi-chi sat there dazed, staring at Chi-chi. In the end, Song Kong had to remind everyone he would only explain the material once more. After class, Hwan-er walked Chi-chi to the gate and was surprised to see a private driver waiting. She then realized Chi-chi often asked her driver to stop far away, just so she could blend in better with her classmates. Chi-chi confessed she she admired Huaner for being able to live in the hospital staff compound, surrounded by warmth and community. In contrast, her own parents were constantly away on business trips, and from a young age, she had been placed in boarding schools. With her family frequently moving, she never had close friends. Listening to this, Huaner understood all too well the loneliness Chi described, since her own mother often worked night shifts and was rarely at home. Before parting, Chi handed Huaner the bottle of shampoo she always used. Watching her friend's figure fade into the distance, Chen Huaner was deeply moved. When Chen Huan-er returned home, Li Na informed her that tonight they would be having dinner at Li Tian's house. Since Li Tian had ranked first in the class, the hospital director's wife wanted to host a celebratory meal for everyone. During dinner, Li Na expressed her gratitude to the director's family for allowing them to live in the staff compound. Li Tian's mother commented that although Li Na's building was old, its feng shui was excellent, and children who grew up there usually excel, except for a few outliers, like Jing Shiqi. Hearing this, Mrs. Qing mentioned that Jing Shiqi had nearly joined the sports school, and now he was still the captain of the school soccer team. She also couldn't resist boasting that Song Kong was earning an English certificate, which he would use to apply to one of the world's top 5 universities. When Li Tian excused himself to return to his room, Li Na urged Chen Huaner to observe and learn from him. Watching Li Tian study English, Huaner couldn't help but admire his skills. Li Tian casually told her that if she had questions, she should ask Song Kong. If she wanted fun, she should turn to Jing Shiqi. Knowing most of her friends didn't particularly like him, Chen Huan-er didn't feel obliged to interact. Just then, Song Kong arrived to take her to tutoring. Meanwhile, the lonely Li Tian amused himself by admiring the stack of certificates decorating his wall. During the study session, Chi recalled being scolded by her mother for skipping piano lessons to hang out with bad friends. She announced that she would no longer attend Song Kong's tutoring sessions, explaining that her mother had hired a private tutor and wanted her to study in the international class, mainly because the tuition there was more expensive. Jing Shiqi thought Chi-Chi's mother had a point. After all, students in the international class tended to excel academically and had easier opportunities to go abroad. Chen Huan-er wondered if everyone already had their futures planned out. Chi admitted she wanted to become a writer. Song Kong hadn't figured it out yet, but his mother wanted him to study overseas, while Huan-er herself questioned whether a life that was already decided could truly bring happiness. Jing Shiqi reassured her not to worry. Song Kong, being a genius, was naturally destined for great things, and Jing Shiqi would pursue professional soccer with Real Madrid. On the way to escort Chi home, Huan-er's shoelace came undone, while Jing Shiqi, distracted by chasing after Chi, shared his dream of playing for Real Madrid. Chi, however, seemed indifferent and declined his invitation to watch a match next week, saying she didn't understand sports. Watching from behind, Huan-er reflected that Song Kong couldn't voice his own dreams. Jing Shiqi's ambitions were dismissed as fanciful, yet at least they had clear goals, whereas she herself felt uncertain and stuck in place. When she arrived home, Huan-er noticed a new suitcase and realized her father had returned. Mr. Chen ran to embrace his daughter and checked on the level of martial arts she had achieved. At that moment, Li Na reminded Chen Huan-er and missed Chen to hurry to the dining table. During a walk, Huan-er asked her parents if they had any plans for her future. Li Na replied that she could do anything or even nothing at all. Huan-er then shared how all her friends had clear ambitions, feeling that even though she came from a small county, she should have her own goals. Miss Chen gently reminded her that life wasn't a competition, and as long as she was happy, that was enough. Meanwhile, Jing Shiqi's father, a firefighter, was practicing soccer with his son, hoping to instill perseverance and discipline. On the other side, Song Kong sat alone in the stands, recalling how he had requested to transfer classes because Huan-er had been right. This wasn't the life he wanted. Earlier that day, Chi had congratulated Song Kong on achieving first place in a recent competition, and he, in turn, praised her essay for being selected as a model piece. Watching Song Kong's figure walk away, Chi recalled her first days at school, when she had been scolded for writing off-topic essays. Song Kong had appeared then, appreciating her work and trusting only his own judgment. That moment had been the first time Chi felt genuinely understood and happy. When Song Kong returned home, Mrs. Qing asked why he had transferred classes on his own. She reminded him that she had planned for him to study in the international class and eventually go abroad. For the first time, Song Kong spoke up, expressing his personal opinion. He didn't want to join the international class, nor did he need to attend a prestigious school. He didn't want his parents to save every penny just to send him abroad. Instead, he was determined to enroll in the best school within the country, preserving his mother's pride while following his own path. Mrs. Qing asked Song Kong whether he thought she was sending him abroad just for prestige. Song Kong, knowing his mother had always sacrificed for him, reflected on her small gestures, like giving him all the walnuts she loved most. Even though he no longer needed brain supplements, he understood her sacrifices completely and followed her guidance diligently every day. Then he asked if she had ever actually asked what he wanted to do. In truth, Song Kong didn't like walnuts. What he wanted was to be like Jing Shi-chi, to finish school on time and join extracurricular activities freely. Mrs. Ching, trying to restrain herself, asked what he wanted to study domestically, but Song Kong couldn't answer. Frustrated, she threw his books out the door. At the secret base, Song Kong admitted he wanted to transfer to a regular class and study medicine, though he hadn't dared tell his mother. Mrs. Ching disliked the idea because she didn't want him to experience the same grueling life as his father in the hospital. Jing Shi-chi, surprised by how Wan Er's casual comment had provoked this revelation, welcomed his friend into the club of unsupported dreams. He insisted that each person must decide their own future. Parents couldn't live it for them. Chen Wan Er observed her friend's lofty ambitions and realized she herself was still unsure whether to choose the social sciences or natural sciences track. When Song Kong left, Jing Shi-chi devised a plan to ease his family tensions. He would speak with Mr. Song, while Huan Er would counsel Song Kong. Jing Shi-chi approached Mr. Song, complaining that his friend had injured his leg and that his mother wouldn't allow him to play soccer. He confided that if Mr. Song were like his own father, always supporting his child's dreams, life would be much easier for Song Kong. Mr. Song asked Jing Shi-chi if he had secretly visited the traditional medicine clinic. Dr. Zhang, a friend of Mr. Song, had already explained the condition of Jing Shi-chi's old injury. Although Mr. Song wouldn't tell Jing Shi-chi's mother, he insisted that his son needed proper treatment. Meanwhile, Chen Huan Er came to deliver books to Song Kong. As a friend, she supported his decision to transfer classes, though she thought he should also discuss it with his parents. Song Kong knew exactly what he had to do. He just needed to wait for his mother to calm down. At that moment, Song Kong received a call from Jing Shi-chi's mother. He lied, saying he was tutoring Jing Shi-chi. Huan Er, curious, asked why Lin Yifan didn't allow Jing Shi-chi to play soccer. Song Kong explained that pursuing a professional soccer career was even harder than getting into a prestigious school. He remembered how Jing Shi-chi had been injured before and recalled his friend saying that if he truly loved something, he would allow it to hurt him. Huan Er felt deep admiration for her friends who had nurtured their passions from a young age. Song Kong encouraged her to join a talent class, reminding her that it wasn't too late to start exploring her own interests. That evening, Mr. Ching scolded her husband for using surgical tools to pick bones and questioned why Song Kong wanted to transfer classes. She also reminded him of Song Kong's first-place win in the provincial math Olympiad, arguing that transferring was a waste of an opportunity for others. Mr. Song, knowing his son inherited his own determination, believed that once Song Kong set his mind to something, he wouldn't stop. Later, he quietly advised his son to transfer to the regular class the next day, reflecting on his own courage and youth and urging Song Kong to cherish his current independence. The next day, Chen Huan Er met Jing Shi-chi on the soccer field and clarified that Song Kong's transfer wasn't because of her. She explained that Song Kong changed classes because of Jing Shi-chi's unwavering determination to play soccer. Jing Shi-chi, proud of his natural leadership, told Huan Er that she could do something for him, assuring her that she would succeed. Huan Er then realized that Song Kong had successfully persuaded his mother. Returning home, she reflected that Jing Shi-chi wasn't as indifferent as he appeared. Seeing him sweat on the soccer field, she felt herself genuinely drawn to him. The next day after school, Jing Shi-chi hurried home to watch the match. Chen Huan Er noticed her shoelace had come undone and worried she might be left behind again. Yet this time, Jing Shi-chi came back. Just then, Song Kong brought his books to the new class, finally finishing school at the same time as his friends. Life is full of firsts. The first time we make our own choices, the first time we feel our hearts stir, the first time we defy our parents. Parents understand this. They know they cannot stop their children from taking their first steps. The once naive children have begun to chart their own paths. The next day at school, Xingyan asked if Song Kong had transferred classes because of Chen Huan Er. Jing Shi-chi clarified that Song Kong had changed classes to sit at the same table as him. The class president reminded Jing Shi-chi to quickly complete the registration list for the school sports meet. As a result, the vice president of academics and arts had to pursue persuade the girls to sign up. At that moment, Qin Liang arrived to challenge Jing Shiqi's class, declaring that in the upcoming sports meet, the loser would have to call the winner brother. Since no one in the class was willing to run the girls' 1,500 meters, Jing Shiqi had no choice but to plead with Chen Huan-er. She immediately refused, insisting she could barely run a few steps. Yet Jing Shiqi refused to give up. He ambushed her at her doorstep, earnestly asking her to accept his heartfelt request and sign up for the race. To motivate her, he even created a story inspired by a textbook illustration, using it to lift Chen Huan-er's spirits. No matter where she went, she couldn't escape his persistence. Back at home, Huan-er overheard Lin Yifan complaining about Jing Shiqi's knee injury. Mr. Song, worried something might happen, showed Lin Yifan the medical report, explaining that Jing Shiqi would need to rest for a while to recover. While Huan-er was closing the window, she noticed Lin Yifan forbidding Jing Shiqi from participating in the sports meet. At that moment, Jing Shiqi pleaded with his mother, arguing that, since he struggled academically, the sports meet was his only chance to shine. He reminded her that he was the vice class president of academics and arts, and insisted he couldn't let his class suffer a humiliating defeat. Seeing Jing Shiqi's determined yet desperate gaze, Chen Huan-er texted him, agreeing to run the 1,500 meters for the girls' team. The next morning, Jing Shiqi waited for her at the gate, presenting her with a handmade vegetable pastry. Chen Huan-er instructed Jing Shiqi not to reveal her participation, as her mother would not allow her to compete. Hearing this, Jing Shiqi decided to turn her into a secret weapon. He began an intensive crash training regimen, even hanging an orange in front of her to motivate her to chase it. Determined to challenge herself, Chen Huan-er resolved to give it her all. Finally, the day of the sports meet arrived. Song Kong was honored to sit on the VIP podium, while Jing Shiqi, ignoring his mother's warnings, signed up for the boys' 800 meters. As a student with athletic talent, he did not disappoint his classmates. When it was time for the girls' 1,500 meters, Chen Huan-er stepped onto the track, cheered on by the entire class. Jing Shiqi told her not to feel pressured and to run at her own pace. Song Kong led the cheering, encouraging her with words of praise, calling her the pride of Class 10A5. Inspired, the whole class stood and shouted their support in unison. Chen Huan-er was deeply moved. She wanted to push herself for the sake of her team, but the 1,500 meters was no short distance, and her competitors quickly caught up and passed her. In the final moments, her heart tightened. She realized that even after undergoing surgery, she refused to give up. She wanted to risk everything to prove herself. For the first time, Chen Huan-er truly understood what she wanted. Though she did not win, she completed the race, having discovered her own courage and determination. While Jing Shiqi begins the next round of the competition, Chen Huan-er can no longer hold on and faints to the ground. Seeing this, Song Kong rushes over and immediately carries her to the medical room. The doctor soon diagnoses Chen Huan-er with nothing more than low blood sugar. Chi recalls that Chen Huan-er had been so tense that she skipped breakfast. When Chen Huan-er wakes up, she asks Chi to buy some sanitary pads for her. At the convenience store, Chi runs into Song Kong, who is buying food for Chen Huan-er. He urges Chi to hand the items over so he can pay at once. Feeling awkward and unable to refuse, Chi shyly gives the sanitary pads to Song Kong. Meanwhile, Jing Shiqi, having just finished his competition, hurries to check on Chen Huan-er. Upon hearing that she is injured, he insists on taking her to the hospital. Chen Huan-er has no choice but to admit that it was just low blood sugar. Just then, the class monitor announces that Chen Huan-er ranked third, a result that propels their class to first place overall. Overjoyed, Chen Huan-er wants to go up personally to receive the award. Jing Shiqi, stepping in for the doctor, removes the needle from her arm. Back at the stadium, the whole class cheers for Jing Shiqi and Chen Huan-er, declaring them the pride of Class 10A5. A student from another class sarcastically remarks that Class 10A5 only won by luck. Hearing this, Chi speaks up, arguing that Class 10A6 has many talented athletes and thus doesn't dare admit defeat. Chen Huan-er is surprised that someone usually as cold as Chi could speak out so boldly in defense of their class. Even Li Tian, normally focused solely on academics, joins in to support the collective. At the end of the day, Chen Huan-er went to deliver something to her mother, inadvertently revealing the IV mark on her arm. Li Na scolded her, pointing out that Huan-er's health had always been fragile, yet she still dared to participate in the sports meet. She guessed that Jing Shiqi, true to form, had also ignored instructions and secretly competed. Jing Shiqi wondered why someone as composed as Aunt Li Na could panic so easily upon hearing that Huan-er had joined the race. Back at home, Chen Huan-er looked at herself in the mirror, examining the scar on her head. Stepping outside, she read the concerned messages from her classmates in Class 10A5. Meanwhile, Jing Shiqi Shi-chi threw a stone through the window to check on her. She reassured him that she was truly fine, yet Jing Shi-chi remained worried and decided to ask her parents. Mr. Jing explained that Huan had been ill as a child, which had left her somewhat weak. Jing Shi-chi realized that her determination stemmed from wanting to keep up with her friends. The next morning, Song Kong brought breakfast along with a box of sweets to prevent Huan from experiencing another drop in blood sugar. Jing Shi-chi reminded him not to treat her differently, pointing out that Huan wasn't a patient. Huan silently thanked Jing Shi-chi for his playful remark, which spared her from feeling embarrassed. Later, Jing Shi-chi meets Qin Liang at school. Qin Liang brings up their bed again, and true to his word, bows his head and calls him Brother Qi. When they enter the classroom, teacher Shu announces a new activity, a book exchange organized by the school. Each student is asked to pick a favorite book and write a personal note for whoever receives it. At the milk tea shop, Chi hesitantly asks Song Kong what kind of books he likes. Song Kong admits he doesn't have a specific preference, only that he enjoys a few particularly good reads. Jing Shi-chi adds that, though he's usually lazy when it comes to studying, he genuinely loves reading, but Chi pays little attention. Instead, she invites Chen Huan over to her house to help her choose a book. It's Chen Huan first visit to Chi-chi's home, and she is taken aback by the wealth of her classmates' family. Chi confides that her mother forces her to learn piano, though what she truly longs for is a smaller instrument she could carry around the world. In her private room, Chi reveals shelves filled with books, admitting she buys them mostly because she loves the scent of fresh pages. She then asks Chen Huan to secretly find out what kind of book Song Kong would choose. The next day, Chen Huan proudly tells Jing Shi-chi and Song Kong that she has picked a book on neuropsychology. She explains that it delves into the mental state of preparation and how it can shape a person's next actions. To illustrate, she playfully pinches Jing Shi-chi's ear, each time harder than the last, watching his reactions grow more intense. With a sly smile, she reminds him that he's still young and has much to learn. Jing Shi-chi, convinced she's deliberately teasing him, chases after her. When the book exchange day finally arrives, many boys use the chance to gift books as a confession of affection, while the girls compete by spraying perfume onto their chosen volumes. Returning to her seat, Chen Huan wrote a line on the first page, saying that the book helped her understand the human brain, and she hoped her classmates would find it interesting to read. On his side, Jing Shi-chi carefully wraps his chosen book and heads to the reading room. There, he carelessly leaves Song Kong's book behind and instead picks up Chi-chi's. The class monitor notices Jing Shi-chi placing a book on the shelf, and on purpose, takes that very one. Meanwhile, after hearing from Chen Huan about Song Kong's preference, Chi frantically searches for the catcher in the rye, but can't find it. Just as the bell rings, Chen Huan hastily grabs the biggest book she can find, accidentally bumps into a classmate, and rushes back to her seat. When she finally opens it, her excitement fades. It turns out to be a test prep collection. Inside, Li Tian has left a note wishing her top marks on the upcoming exam. Later, when the class monitor proudly shows off that she has received the catcher in the rye, Chi realizes that the girl must like Song Kong as well. 3 days pass, and Jing Shi-chi still can't make sense of the book Chi had chosen. As the deadline to return books approaches, he secretly asks Song Kong to write a short note of feedback on his behalf. On the day of return, Chi sneaks a peek at the catcher in the rye, while Chen Huan unable to find her neuropsychology book, borrows Chi-chi's instead. To her surprise, she discovers a note inside written in Song Kong's handwriting. When she shares this with Chi feels a burst of quiet joy. From a distance, Jing Shi-chi misinterprets her happy smile, believing she's touched by his thoughtfulness. Back in remedial class, Chi reveals that she has moved up in rank and no longer needs a private tutor. Without even checking his own grades, Jing Shi-chi celebrates by buying her lucky fried chicken, but Chi passes it to Chen Huan instead, since she too has improved her ranking, while Jing Shi-chi remains stuck at the very bottom. In the end, Chi-chi's true motivation is revealed. She had been working hard all along, just so she could be seated closer to Song Kong. At the parent-teacher meeting, Jing Shi-chi hides away, too afraid to face his mother. Teacher Shu praises Song Kong for maintaining his top rank in the grade, and commends Chen Huan for her remarkable progress. But he also points out that some students' results fluctuate as wildly as blood pressure, urging the parents of Jing Shi-chi to pay closer attention to their son. Knowing his mother holds Chen Huan in high regard, Jing Shi-chi buys her a cup of milk tea and persuades her to accompany him home. The moment Lin Yifan sees Chen Huan she struggles to suppress her anger before demanding an explanation from her son. Why had he fallen to the very bottom of the class? Jing Shi-chi admits fault and suggests inviting Chen Huan to tutor him, narrowly escaping his mother's fury. As Chen Huan flips through his test papers, she realizes Jing Shi-chi had deliberately admittedly performed poorly. When he tries to deny it, she threatens to expose him to Lin Yifan. Cornered, Jing Shiqi confesses the truth. He didn't want to score higher than Qi. The secret leaves Chen Huanair with a heavy heart. The next day, teacher Shu urges students to quickly complete their subject selection forms, reminding them to consult with their parents since the decision will determine their future major at university. At home, Qi makes up her mind to follow Song Kong into the natural sciences track. But just then, her mother walks in and reveals she has already filled out the social sciences track on her behalf. Shocked, Qi accuses her of disregarding her wishes. Her mother counters that Qi is merely following her friend's choices, warning that friends are only passing guests who bear no responsibility for her future. If Qi insists on choosing the natural sciences, her mother declares, then she will send her abroad to study. On her side, Chen Huanair confidently chooses the natural sciences track based on her own ability. At that very moment, Qi texts her, lamenting that her mother is forcing her into the social sciences. The next day in class, Qi hears the news that students in the social sciences will soon be transferred to different classrooms. Watching Chen Huanair happily chatting with the class monitor, Qi suddenly feels a pang of loneliness. To her, in the phrase class division, it is the word division that weighs most heavily, the separation that few are ready to accept. That evening, after lessons, the class monitor asks everyone to stay and watch a video. To Qi's surprise, it is a birthday tribute organized by Chen Huanair, who had gathered messages from their classmates. In the video, Chen Huanair shares that beneath Qi's seemingly proud exterior lies a warm and genuine heart. She hopes they can remain best friends forever. Song Kong follows with his own wish that Qi will grow into the best version of herself. Each message from her classmates moves Qi deeply, and she can only respond with heartfelt gratitude to Class 10A5 for giving her such a special birthday. The class monitor gently reminds those transferring to the social sciences that opportunities to meet may be fewer, but assures them that Class 10A5 will always welcome them back. On the way home, Chen Huanair, Jing Shiqi, and Song Kong present Qi with a small instrument. Chen Huanair encourages her to take it along on her journey so she can freely pursue what she loves, adding that, even if they end up in separate classes, she will never forget her. Overwhelmed, Qi feels the urge to hug each of them as a farewell. She leans into Song Kong's embrace, cherishing the warmth he gives her. When it comes to Jing Shiqi, however, she only offers a polite thank you for carrying her things. During the summer break, the school organizes a study trip for the students. When Qi returns to class to join the outing, she pairs up with Chen Huanair. Surprised, Chen Huanair admits she hadn't reserved a spot for her, assuming Qi's mother wouldn't allow her to go. Later, Jing Shiqi sneaks off with some classmates to a nearby park and suggests they try paddle boating. Xinyan immediately volunteers to team up with Chen Huanair, which makes Qi visibly displeased. To settle the tension, Song Kong proposes pairing one boy and one girl in each boat for safety. Chen Huanair notices the class monitor isn't feeling well and tells her to ride with Jing Shiqi. Qi ends up on Song Kong's boat, while Chen Huanair boldly decides to challenge both teams alone. The race begins. Determined to win, Jing Shiqi pushes hard to catch up with Chen Huanair, while Song Kong stays calm, prioritizing safety as he rows steadily. Just as Jing Shiqi's boat closes in, he carelessly collides with Chen Huanair's. The impact throws her into the water. Panic-stricken, Jing Shiqi quickly pulls her back onto his boat. When Chen Huanair insists she's fine, everyone finally breathes a sigh of relief. Moments later, Qi goes to buy medicine for her friend. Jing Shiqi offers to accompany her, but Qi scolds him instead, accusing him of being reckless and demanding he apologize properly to Chen Huanair. Suddenly, the two run into Song Kong. Seizing the chance, Qi pretends she doesn't know the way and asks him to accompany her to buy medicine. In that moment, Jing Shiqi realizes the person Qi truly likes isn't him but Song Kong. Later, after buying oranges for Chen Huanair, Jing Shiqi apologizes for his recklessness, admitting his competitiveness caused the accident. But Chen Huanair believes she's the one who should apologize for pulling Qi away from him. Jing Shiqi doesn't quite understand her meaning and instead casually feeds her a slice of orange. Neither of them notices, Song Kong watching from a distance, his eyes clouded with an unspoken sadness. After the trip, everyone carries home their own unspoken emotions except Chen Huanair, who still doesn't fully understand her heart. With the new school year, Chen Huanair meets Qi again at the school gates. Meanwhile, Song Kong wonders aloud why Jing Shiqi has suddenly grown cold toward Qi. Jing Shiqi replies that it's something Song Kong could never understand. Soon after, Qi bids farewell to her classmates, moving to another building for her studies. In class, Xinyan announces that the school will soon host a cultural performance, with each class required to present an act. Without hesitation, Jing Shiqi volunteers Song Kong to recite poetry, Another student suggests that Jing Shiqi showcase his freestyle soccer skills to keep things lively. Reluctantly, Jing Shiqi agrees, but only on the condition that Song Kong joins him in a rhythm dance. He reminds his friend of the wish he once shared when switching classes, to truly experience the many colors of high school life. With no room left to argue, Song Kong surrenders to his best friend's plan. Finally, the class monitor adds several girls to perform the rhythm dance, ensuring the act will be even more vibrant. Noticing Chen Waner's martial arts skills, Jing Shiqi assumes she must also be good at dancing. To his dismay, both Song Kong and Chen Waner end up completely off beat, each moving to a different rhythm. Forced to concede, Jing Shiqi withdraws his suggestion, realizing that neither of them has any talent for dancing. Just then, Chi arrives. Chen Waner rushes over to greet her best friend, but at that very moment, the class monitor asks her to return to the classroom to fetch an English assignment for the teacher. Seeing this, Chi pointedly questions Xin Yan, demanding to know why he's ordering Chen Waner around for personal errands. Embarrassed, Chen Waner explains that since she can't dance, she volunteered to handle the odd jobs instead. Chi, feeling hurt that her best friend would side with someone else, storms off in anger. Later, at the taro cake shop where the two had planned to meet, Chen Waner waits in vain. Just as she reaches for her phone to call Chi, she discovers her battery is dead. Disappointed, she heads home, only to unexpectedly run into Jing Shiqi and Song Kong, who explain they had been unable to reach her and went out searching in worry. Jing Shiqi, still upset, threatens to tell her mother. On their way back, the three run into trouble when a group of thugs blocks their path. In a split-second decision, Chen Waner kicks the one threatening Jing Shiqi, then grabs his arm to drag him away as they make their escape. Thanks to their quick reactions, they finally manage to escape the thugs' pursuit. At that moment, Chen Waner grew anxious, fearing that the gang might show up at school for revenge. In contrast to her worries, Song Kong remained calm, telling Chen Waner and Jing Shiqi to wait while he went to buy a medicated patch for her injured foot. Meanwhile, Jing Shiqi scolded Chen Waner for holding his hand so tightly that it left red marks. She argued that only by holding on could he escape the four gangsters' grip. Hearing this, Jing Shiqi proudly reminded her that he was an athlete and had no reason to be afraid of a few thugs. Still, he admitted that Chen Waner's handling of the situation was impressively cool. Playfully, Chen Waner pretended her foot hurt and demanded that Jing Shiqi repay her for saving him. Yet the moment he touched her, she snapped in pain, instantly breaking the light-hearted mood. The following day, after hearing Song Kong's account of the incident, teacher Shu instructed his students to go straight home after class. He then reported the matter to the police, who soon arrested the delinquents loitering near the school. Elsewhere, Chi rushed over upon hearing the news, but when she saw the four of them laughing together, she couldn't help feeling that her place had been quietly replaced by the class monitor. Later, after the school's talent show, Xin Yan apologized for messing up her dance steps. To make it up, she offered to treat the whole group to bubble tea. From a distance, Chi could only watch them in secret. Later, she happened to run into Chen Waner at a convenience store. There, Chi overheard Chen Waner seeking advice from a classmate named Duman. Chen Waner wondered whether physical distance would eventually create emotional distance between her and Chi. Duman replied that whether in friendship or love, if a relationship needs constant effort just to keep it alive, it will never truly last. No matter how hard they try. Eventually, Chen Waner managed to meet Chi face to face and asked directly if she was upset with her. Chi, visibly uneasy, admitted that she had promised her mother to rank in the top 10 of their grade. She told Chen Waner not to invite her out anymore, and added that the two of them didn't really belong to the same world. Chen Waner had many friends, while Chi had only one, and that was her. For Chi, friendship came with a sense of possession. She wanted to be Chen Waner's one and only best friend, but if she couldn't have that place, she would rather the two remain nothing more than old classmates. Back in class, Chen Waner hurried to wipe away her tears, though her emotions betrayed her. Sitting beside her, Duman quietly handed over a tissue. In an attempt to lift her spirits, Jing Shiqi later brought Chen Waner and Song Kong to a cozy book cafe. Reading the situation, he realized that the bond between Chen Waner and Chi had already begun to crack. His guess was simple. Chi was just jealous and needed time to calm down. When Chen Waner and Song Kong's mothers had to work overtime, Jing Shiqi invited them over for dinner at his house. Just then, they ran into Li Tian's family. Mr. Li scolded his son for his poor grades, while Li Tian snapped back that his father hadn't given him the brains to succeed. To ease the tension, Jing Shiqi quickly asked Li Tian to come inside and compare answers with him. Once inside, Chen Waner realized that the relationship between Jing Shiqi, Song Kong, and Li Tian wasn't what she had imagined. Jing Shiqi explained that since they had all grown up together, there was no way they could truly clearly dislike one another. However, ever since Mr. Lee became the school director, Li Tian had chosen to distance himself from the group. Li Tian immediately denied it, claiming instead that it was his friends who had shut him out first. Sensing the unease, Chen Huan suggested they all study together in a group. Song Kong and Li Tian, as the top students, would tutor her and Jing Shi, who struggled with their grades. Song Kong agreed without hesitation and even expressed a desire to learn some English phrases from Li Tian. Hearing such praise from the school's star student finally brought a look of satisfaction to Li Tian's face. The next day, Teacher Xu organized a field trip to the countryside for hands-on farm work, assigning the class vice monitor to film the students' activities. Once in the rural fields, everyone began to complain about digging under the scorching midday sun. Coming from a rural background, Chen Huan naturally took the lead in showing her classmates how to harvest vegetables. Jing Shi quickly filmed her instructions, but as he did, he noticed something unusual in the way. Song Kong smiled at her. After the fieldwork, the class gathered to cook a meal together. Thanks to his father's training, Song Kong skillfully handled the chicken with professional precision, while Chen Huan decided to showcase her cooking by preparing a chicken dish for everyone to enjoy. Once the meal was finished, the class monitor suggested a round of truth or dare. When Jing Shi lost, he was asked which classmate he most wanted to sit next to. Without hesitation, he said he only liked sitting with Song Kong. When it was Chen Huan's turn, Jing Shi mischievously pointed to himself to hint at her answer, but she instead chose Song Kong. Just then, Song Kong returned from the restroom, holding the smallest card in the game. Xinyan seized the chance to ask him who he liked most in class. Flustered by Chen Huan's presence, he quickly used the excuse of needing the restroom again to avoid answering. Later, in the vegetable garden, Chen Huan tried to find sweet potato roots, a folk remedy for diarrhea, to help Song Kong, but Jing Shi, eager to impress, managed to pick something first. Chen Huan explained that the remedy wasn't the tuber itself, but a specific medicinal root. Eventually, Jing Shi did manage to find the right plant exactly as she had described. Back at the dormitory, Chen Huan breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that Song Kong was fine. At that moment, the class monitor suddenly asked her whether Jing Shi had any favorite books besides The Catcher in the Rye. Chen Huan clarified that the novel actually belonged to Song Kong. Jing Shi had only been carrying it to the reading room for him. It turned out that the one Xinyan liked was none other than Jing Shi. Hearing this, Xinyan urged Chen Huan to draw a tarot card. According to her reading, Chen Huan was destined to be someone with ideals. She added that although Chen Huan and Jing Shi seemed very different on the surface, their souls were deeply in sync. Curious, the two then called Dumon over to join the tarot reading. Just as they began, the dormitory guard came for inspection, and the three had to hide under the blankets, narrowly escaping trouble. The next day, during the Campfire cultural exchange, each class performed songs and dances. Chi dedicated a song to the friend she had always cherished, a melody that person often listened to. She expressed her wish that they would never have to say goodbye. At first, Chen Huan thought the dedication was meant for her, but soon she realized that it was actually Song Kong who often played that tune. Sitting nearby, Jing Shi couldn't help but feel a pang of disappointment, especially since earlier that morning he had seen Song Kong walking together with Chi. Understanding that Chi wanted to be alone with him, Chen Huan and Jing Shi quietly slipped away, leaving Song Kong with her. At that moment, Song Kong realized that Chi still longed for the days she used to spend with Chen Huan. Hearing this, Chi confessed that returning to how things were before might be too difficult. Meanwhile, Jing Shi, worried that Chen Huan might be upset, secretly brought her snacks. He told her that he, too, had once experienced the same feelings she was going through. Only then did Chen Huan realize that Jing Shi had misunderstood. Thinking she secretly liked Song Kong, she quickly clarified that what she felt for Song Kong was nothing more than pure friendship. The reason she had gone looking for medicine earlier was because Song Kong had gotten an upset stomach from eating the food she cooked, and she felt guilty. Upon hearing this, Jing Shi scolded the class monitor for giving him false information and immediately demanded his snacks back, since Chen Huan was clearly not lovesick as he had believed. Just then, Song Kong appeared, searching for Chen Huan and Jing Shi, only to stumble upon the sight of the two of them happily enjoying each other's company. Back home, Chen Huan guessed that Chi's coldness stemmed from jealousy over her closeness with Song Kong. Shortly after, she messaged Song Kong to say she would be studying on her own for the time being. Because Li Na had to work the night shift on Lunar New Year's Eve, she couldn't take her daughter back to their hometown. The year-end dinner ended up being just Li Na and Chen Huan as her father had to remain at the training camp. At that moment, Mrs. Ching stopped by to invite them to celebrate together. together. When Chen Huaner stepped into Jing Shiqi's room, however, she found only Song Kong there, which made things slightly awkward. Soon after, Jing Shiqi returned and suggested taking her somewhere new to broaden her horizons, though to her surprise, the destination turned out to be a gaming cafe. While Chen Huaner watched a movie, Jing Shiqi and Song Kong battled it out in a soccer match on the console. After one round, Song Kong sat out and texted Chen Huaner, asking why she had been avoiding him. Gathering her courage, she confessed that she simply didn't want Chi to misunderstand. Just then, Jing Shiqi finished his game and suggested they go light fireworks together. Remembering how the school director's family always set off large displays every year, he texted Li Tian to sneak some for them. Before long, Li Tian delivered a whole box of fireworks but chose not to join, wanting to spend New Year's Eve with his family. By the riverside, Song Kong told Chen Huaner and Jing Shiqi to stand back so he could put on a fireworks display. Jing Shiqi turned to Chen Huaner and asked how long she planned to keep avoiding Song Kong. He admitted he couldn't quite understand a girl's thoughts, but he firmly believed that friendship could remain pure forever. He reminded her not to let the fear of being disliked force her to go against her own heart. As the fireworks lit up the horizon, Song Kong shouted out to Chen Huaner, insisting that their bonds were nothing but genuine friendship, and warning her not to lose her way. Jing Shiqi, too, urged her not to break the harmony of their group, stressing that they all needed to focus on their studies together. Life in their second year of high school seemed calm on the surface, but in reality, each of them was straining under the pressure of exams. The looming college entrance test felt like a giant beast, devouring every bit of mental space they had, forcing them to confront how difficult it was to hold on to their ideals. One day, Jing Shiqi borrowed Chen Huaner's computer to look up the admission scores for sports universities. Watching him, Chen Huaner thought to herself that he had always known exactly what he wanted since childhood, sparing him the detours others had to take. Jing Shiqi suggested that she consider studying pharmacy, given her knowledge of medicinal herbs. Later he invited both Chen Huaner and Song Kong to the soccer field, where he proudly announced that he would be representing their school in an intercollegiate tournament. Chen Huaner congratulated him, thinking that he was now one step closer to his dream. Deep down, she felt that both she and Song Kong shared the same sentiment. They admired Jing Shiqi's ability to speak of his ideals with such ease. During the experiment session, before the teacher even gave instructions, Jing Shiqi was already fooling around. When it came time to practice, however, the teacher discovered that Chen Huaner showed genuine talent for chemistry. Impressed, Mr. Xu immediately called Chen Huaner to his office. Based on his grades and the chemistry teacher's praise, Mr. Xu decided to nominate Chen Huaner for the national chemistry competition. At that very moment, Li Tian arrived to switch his registration form from English to mathematics. Later, over dinner at Chen Huaner's house, Song Kong revealed that the principal had forced Li Tian to make the change, since participating in the English presentation contest would not earn him any extra points. Jing Shiqi, remembering how Li Tian had always loved English since childhood, was surprised to hear Chen Huaner wanted to help him, yet Song Kong advised Chen Huaner to focus solely on the chemistry contest, assuring him that he and Jing Shiqi would take care of Li Tian's matter. On the day of the exam, Song Kong and Jing Shiqi went to pick up Li Tian. Song Kong explained that he had persuaded Mr. Xu to give Li Tian special permission to choose between mathematics and English. Standing on stage, Li Tian confidently delivered a presentation about his dreams. From the wings, Jing Shiqi, for the very first time, found Li Tian undeniably cool. Song Kong, puzzled, asked whether Jing Shiqi even understood what was being said. When Li Tian finished, Jing Shiqi immediately asked him what he had just talked about. Around the same time, Chen Huaner, having completed his own exam, hurried back eager to find out what had happened with Li Tian. Shortly after, Chen Huaner came across Jing Shiqi, Song Kong, and Li Tian watching cartoons together. Jing Shiqi even practiced a few English phrases just to invite Chen Huaner to join them. The next day, the class leader announced that Li Tian had won first place in the English presentation contest. Catching the grateful look in Li Tian's eyes, Jing Shiqi felt no need to hear the words, "Thank you." Back home, Chen Huaner told her mother that she had decided to pursue a major in pharmacy. She explained how, on the day of the exam, she had noticed Dumont about to take both traditional herbal medicine and painkillers to suppress her menstrual cramps. Knowing the two could not be taken together, Chen Huaner stopped her. Thanks to that, Dumont managed to complete her exam successfully and even advanced to the finals. Hearing this, Lina insisted her daughter read through a 1,000-page pharmacology book before allowing her to confirm her choice of major. During self-study, Chen Huaner wondered how Jing Shiqi was doing in his competition. Just then, a classmate rushed in to report that Jing Shiqi had been injured. When she arrived at the infirmary, infirmary, the coach explained that Jing Shiqi had been pinned down by an opponent. The doctor advised taking him to the hospital immediately. Song Kong told Chen Huan-er to return to class to fetch his bag while he carried Jing Shiqi himself. By the time Chen Huan-er reached the hospital, Song Kong quickly reassured her. He explained that Jing Shiqi had suffered a hamstring injury, one that would be difficult to recover from completely. At that moment, Jing Shiqi's parents stepped out and asked Chen Huan-er and Song Kong to head home first, since Jing Shiqi didn't want to see anyone. Back at home, Chen Huan-er could only send him a message to check in. She couldn't truly understand the feelings of an athlete who had just learned his leg was injured, but she realized that the brighter a dream burned, the more fragile it became. When meeting with the parents, the coach praised Jing Shiqi's natural gift for soccer. He explained that because the school lacked professional training and because Jing Shiqi was too eager to prove himself, he had ended up injured by accident. Still, several professional teams had already expressed interest in recruiting him once he recovered, and the coach hoped the parents would seriously consider this opportunity. Later, while visiting Jing Shiqi, Chen Huan-er accidentally brushed against his injured leg, causing him to cry out in pain and ask her to fetch a painkiller. When she asked why he had been so careless, Jing Shiqi admitted he simply wanted to win too badly. For the first time, Chen Huan-er saw the always cheerful Jing Shiqi looking dejected, hiding away in sleep. To help him keep up with his studies, after school each day, Chen Huan-er and Song Kong would bring him their notebooks and go over the lessons with him. Jing Shiqi complained that no patient had it worse than he did, prompting Song Kong to threaten that if he didn't study properly, his phone would be confiscated. At last, the day of Jing Shiqi's discharge arrived. Chen Huan-er gave him a pair of tickets to the championship match as a gift. In the rehabilitation room, Jing Shiqi pushed himself through therapy, though the pain in his hamstring still lingered. When he met Chen Huan-er again, he confided that things weren't as simple as he had imagined. At first, he had comforted himself, thinking that many great players had also endured severe injuries, but now, it felt as if his body no longer listened to him. Perhaps, he wondered, fate had been warning him all along to quit so that his parents would no longer have to live in fear. Yet to Chen Huan-er, this was only the beginning. She encouraged him to stay patient and trust his body. Jing Shiqi agreed, but on one condition, that Chen Huan-er stop visiting him. The pain had made him painfully aware of what he was facing, and he didn't want anyone to witness the fear etched across his face. On a bright, sunlit day, Jing Shiqi finally returned to school. Instead of heading straight to class, he was drawn to the soccer field, where memories of doing pull-ups on the goalpost came flooding back. Chen Huan-er reminded him of a famous Barcelona player who had torn his anterior cruciate ligament at just 17 years old, endured 220 stitches and 6 surgeries, yet went on to be named the best player in the European Championship at the age of 28. She also mentioned how, in 1999, Ronaldo completely ruptured his ACL, but rather than retiring, he made a swift recovery and returned even stronger 2 years later. Pulling out a small notepad, Chen Huan-er read out more examples of athletes who had overcome devastating injuries. Hearing her words, Jing Shiqi thanked her. Under the brilliant sunlight, Chen Huan-er had given him the courage to believe that as long as he had the will to start again, his youth would never truly end. Later, Jing Shiqi opened up to his father. He recalled how, for as long as he could remember, soccer had always been his greatest passion. His mother once told him that becoming a professional player was his father's unfulfilled dream, which only strengthened his resolve to chase it himself. Moved, Mr. Jing revealed that Jing Shiqi's mother had always been deeply anxious whenever she saw him play, simply because of how much she loved him. Jing Shiqi was surprised to learn that his mother had secretly attended his matches, but with his son's determination now clear, Mr. Jing advised him to persevere no matter what obstacles lay ahead. Just then, Mrs. Lin Yifan arrived to take Jing Shiqi and his father home. She shared that the youth team coach had just called to check on Jing Shiqi's condition, urging him to recover quickly so he could visit the club with his mother. Overwhelmed, Jing Shiqi thanked his mother for supporting his dream. The next morning, Chen Huan-er waited to give Jing Shiqi a ride to school. With Song Kong busy taking his own exam, she worried her friend might be uncomfortable, so she even added a cushion to the back seat. Jing Shiqi, carrying Chen Huan-er's backpack, obediently hopped on. He teased that with her turtle speed pedaling, they were bound to be late. But watching her determination, he suddenly felt that the sunlight shining on them was brighter than ever. After weeks of dedicated rehabilitation, Jing Shiqi could finally run and move freely again. Eager to return to the field, he longed for the familiar scent of grass. Laughing, Chen Huan-er teased that she could just bring him a handful of grass to smell. From a distance, Song Kong silently watched the two of them. When the preliminary trials for the youth soccer team arrived. Chen Huaner noticed the worry in Jing Shiqi's eyes. She handed him the red string bracelet she had worn since childhood, telling him she wanted him to borrow all of her luck. Jing Shiqi reassured her not to worry, though he couldn't hide his own nerves. As the test began, he focused all his strength on overcoming each challenge. From the judges' seats, Coach Li watched his student with great anticipation. Meanwhile, Mr. and Mrs. Jing set aside their work to cheer for their son from the sidelines. By the end of the trial, Jing Shiqi was proud of his final play. His parents immediately went over to greet the coach, while Jing Shiqi admitted to Chen Huaner that the red string had truly worked its magic. Smiling, she promised to let him keep it until the very end of the selection process. Back at their secret hangout, Song Kong congratulated his best friend for making it through the first round. Jing Shiqi admitted he had played better than usual, yet he still felt far behind the other players and feared that gap would only grow larger. Song Kong reminded him that those competitors came from sports schools with professional training, and the very fact that Jing Shiqi had advanced this far already proved his ability. With conviction, he assured his friend that he would never give up. In the end, however, Jing Shiqi's name did not appear on the final list of recruits for the youth team. He quietly thanked Chen Huaner's red string for bringing him this far, all the way to the last round. Chen Huaner stayed by his side in silence, offering him space and comfort. Meanwhile, Song Kong was suddenly seen rushing into the hospital. His father revealed that his mother had suffered a cranial hemorrhage after an incident in the emergency room. During a heated moment when a patient's family tried to force their way inside, head nurse Ching had stepped in to calm them down, only to be shoved, striking her head against the bed frame. When he met Chen Huaner that day, Song Kong confided that he had practically grown up in the hospital. He had seen countless families coming and going, but only now did he truly understand their feelings. Chen Huaner shared that she had been frail as a child, her memories filled with the sharp smell of disinfectant and the worried faces of her parents. She believed Aunt Ching must feel the same way, never wanting her loved ones to be weighed down by sorrow. That evening, Jing Shiqi waited outside Chen Huaner's house to ask about Aunt He's condition. When he learned that she was in the intensive care unit, he finally realized how serious it was. Just then, Song Kong returned, and together they went to school. Hearing their classmates gossip about his mother, Jing Shiqi quickly pulled his friend outside, only for them to run into Chi. After a brief exchange, Chen Huaner and Jing Shiqi excused themselves. Chi explained that her mother was a lawyer and could help Song Kong's family. Though Song Kong politely refused, Chi urged him not to hesitate. The next day, Aunt Ching finally regained consciousness. Song explained that she had suffered nerve damage, which would affect movement in her right leg. He planned to transfer her to a city hospital with better treatment options. Chasing after his father downstairs, Song Kong accidentally caught sight of silent tears slipping down his father's face. In that moment, he could only hide. He avoided confronting his father's helplessness, just as he avoided confronting his own sense of uselessness. At their secret hideout, Song Kong revealed that he would be transferring schools to better care for his mother. With his father busy shuttling between two hospitals every day, Song Kong explained that if he moved to the experimental high school, he could bring meals to his mother daily. Chen Huaner tried to reassure him, pointing out that they still lived in the same neighborhood and would see each other often. After completing the transfer procedures, Song Kong chose not to disturb his classmates during their lunch break. Instead, he slipped away quietly without saying goodbye. Li Tian ran after him, handing over her notebook and urging him to catch up on his studies. He, in turn, encouraged her to keep striving for first place at her new school. Teacher Shu embraced him warmly, wishing his student a smooth transition. Chen Huaner and Jing Shiqi promised to meet him later at his house. Even Chi came running to see him off, but in the end, she could only watch silently as his figure faded into the distance. Sometime later, Aunt Ching's condition gradually improved, bringing joy to both Chen Huaner and Jing Shiqi. Yet their daily walks to school no longer felt as lively as before. On the day Aunt He was discharged, the entire neighborhood gathered to welcome her home. Watching her son carry her up the stairs, she urged her husband to ask the director for a first-floor apartment instead. When Song Kong blurted out that he had already transferred schools, she was shocked. He quickly explained that bringing meals to her each day was no burden. But Aunt Ching grew angry, scolding her husband and son for keeping the transfer from her. Mr. Song defended defended their decision, believing his son was simply fulfilling his duty, and that, with his ability, he would excel no matter where he studied. Even so, Aunt Jing still blamed herself, feeling that she had ruined her son's future by forcing him to leave a better school. Beneath the old apartment complex, Chen Huaner carefully prepared a pot of roses. Together with Jing Shiqi, she went to present them to Aunt He. But as they approached, smoke drifted from her window, sending them rushing upstairs to pound on the door. Just then, Mr. Song and Song Kong arrived and hastily unlocked it. Inside, Aunt He scolded Chen Huaner and Jing Shiqi for interfering. She had burned the stove, and in her confusion had even wet the floor. Song Kong's heart ached for his mother, yet all he could do was quietly wipe the ground clean. The next day, 3 families set out for a picnic in Sishui town, hoping to lift Aunt He's spirits. Amid the laughter, Jing Shiqi mischievously slipped a sour kumquat into Chen Huaner's mouth. His father scolded him, then offered her a sweet one instead. As it turned out, Mr. Jing was just like his son, fond of teasing others. Miss Song, ever quick with his camera, captured a beautiful candid of Chen Huaner, while only Song Kong came to her defense, popping a sour kumquat into Jing Shiqi's mouth in return. Watching the parents happily snapping photos, Chen Huaner felt that life was slowly beginning to look brighter. That evening, Li Na invited everyone to sample her hometown dishes. To their surprise, Mr. Jing brought out a birthday cake celebrating his wife. Lin Yifan made a wish that everyone would stay healthy and that Chen Huaner, Jing Shiqi, and Song Kong would achieve high scores in their upcoming college entrance exams. Jing Shiqi then revealed a heartfelt surprise for his mother, a short film he had compiled, piecing together her youthful memories, along with those of Aunt He and Li Na. At dawn, Chen Huaner stepped outside to breathe in the sea breeze, only to find Jing Shiqi perched on the rooftop. Curious, he asked why she had once wished to be as strong as an ox. It turned out that, as a child, Chen Huaner often scribbled her wishes on roof tiles. By chance, Jing Shiqi stumbled upon her second wish, that her parents would never feel sad because of her. He climbed down, grabbed a pen, and together they etched new wishes for their future selves. Meanwhile, Song Kong brought his mother to the seaside, holding her son's warm hand. Aunt slowly began to regain her faith in life. Back in the city, Chen Huaner asked Jing Shiqi to help her create a photo montage for her mother's birthday. Yet she soon realized her parents had only ever kept pictures of their daughter. None remained from their own youth. Jing Shiqi recalled once spotting a photo of Aunt Li Na when she was younger, tucked away in Song Kong's family album, clearly taken by Mr. Song. The closeness between them did not go unnoticed. The next day, Jing Shiqi managed to gather several youthful photos of Aunt Li Na. For the first time, Chen Huaner saw that her mother had once been so stylish. She couldn't help but reflect that what had stolen her parents' youth was, in fact, their children. Jing Shiqi then posed a thoughtful question. If one day they became parents, would they end up the same? Fearing she might take it the wrong way, he quickly changed the subject. At the bakery, Chen Huaner admired a cake both beautiful and delicious, but clearly expensive. When she went to check the design her father had already ordered, it struck her as outdated, so she considered switching to another. She also wanted to buy an extra slice to try, but the shop only sold whole cakes. And so, on the eve of her mother's birthday, the preparations continued with a quiet mix of anticipation and uncertainty. When Mr. Chen returned home, he planned to surprise Li Na and Chen Huaner, but his daughter quickly revealed that she had already prepared everything, only waiting for her mother to arrive. At dawn, Li Na came home from her night shift, only to be met with her husband's reproach. He accused her of neglecting their daughter and even scolded her for leaving expired milk in the fridge. Exhausted and frustrated, Li Na snapped back, reminding him that she had been working while also caring for their child day and night. Mr. Chen, in turn, argued that he had been away earning money for the family and that his life had hardly been easy either. Hearing her parents quarrel, Chen Huaner slipped quietly out of the house. At that very moment, Jing Shiqi was taking out the trash. Seeing her still in pajamas, sitting forlornly by her door, he asked why. Chen Huaner hesitated, then awkwardly claimed she wanted his help with studying. Believing she was sleepwalking, he pinched her cheek to wake her up, forcing her to confess the truth. Her parents had just fought, and she came to his house to escape the tension. Meanwhile, Song Kong received a message about Chen Huaner's situation and rushed to Jing Shiqi's place. By the time he arrived, both Chen Huaner and Jing Shiqi were half asleep, leaving only him fully alert. Embarrassed, Chen Huaner apologized for disturbing them so early and confided that her mother mother had barely come home before another argument erupted with her father. Jing Shiqi shrugged, saying, "Adults always fought, his parents never spent a day in peace." Song Kong, however, recalled that his own parents had never argued. His father had always silently borne the scolding alone. Then came a startling discovery. Jing Shiqi realized that, in his younger days, Song Kong's father hadn't only taken photos of Chen Huaner's mother, he had also photographed his own. To surprise his wife, Mr. Chen left a note saying he was leaving home, but instead of breaking down in tears, Li Na stormed out, demanding her daughter back. Startled, Mr. Chen and Chen Huaner sprinted after her, bracing themselves for her fury. What was meant to be a joyful birthday gathering quickly spiraled into chaos. Yet, when Li Na finally saw the princess-themed birthday cake, her anger began to soften. Chen Huaner had secretly kept the very design her father had ordered, and on top of that, presented her mother with a photo album of her younger days. Thanks to this, the storm of arguments gradually settled. In that moment, Chen Huaner realized, when love runs deep enough, quarrels need not be feared. Later, Jing Shiqi took Chen Huaner to his secret hideout, where he had prepared a surprise just for her, a slice of the very cake she loved. It turned out he had purchased the whole cake, dividing it carefully, one portion for Song Kong's mother, another for Li Tian to win over his father, and the last piece reserved for Chen Huaner. He left Li Tian and Song Kong to settle the bill, while he hurried Chen Huaner to make a wish. Though it wasn't her birthday, she was moved to tears. After savoring a bite, she insisted on sharing it with him. Together, they enjoyed the cake in laughter and warmth. On their way home, Jing Shiqi trailed quietly behind, his gaze lingering on Chen Huaner's back, silently cherishing the sight. Suddenly, rain began to pour, and the two of them took temporary shelter by the roadside. When they finally returned home, Jing Shiqi received news that his father would soon be transferred to Tongling. Mr. Jing quietly told his son that the sports university there was excellent, and he would wait for him to join. The 12th grade year began, and the classroom grew quiet and focused. With everyone striving for their future, a student transferred to the arts class, and the teacher placed Duman at a higher desk. Jing Shiqi asked to sit next to Chen Huaner, warning her not to disturb his spiritual connection with the teacher during lessons. Chen Huaner, in turn, urged him to study diligently, reminding him that hard work would give him more options beyond the sports school. The class monitor then mentioned a special math course, charging 200 yuan per session. Chen Huaner wanted to join, but didn't have the money. At a milk tea shop, Jing Shiqi did some quick calculations and handed her the 200 yuan, encouraging her to try the class, and then tutor him afterward. At least one of them had to succeed. Chen Huaner took 100 yuan for her supplementary lessons, and decided to teach Jing Shiqi, though he refused, claiming he had fallen too far behind to be saved. Chen Huaner teased him, calling him not very smart, and claiming he wouldn't be able to understand her lessons. As expected, Jing Shiqi's competitive spirit was instantly ignited. Together, they studied for 3 straight hours. Jing Shiqi worried he was wasting her time, but Chen Huaner reminded him that teaching was also a way to review knowledge. They made a pact. For every level Jing Shiqi advanced, he would buy her a cup of milk tea. Under her guidance, Jing Shiqi gradually put in more effort. Occasionally, he would sneak a glance at a magazine or doze off on her shoulder, but Chen Huaner would immediately snap him awake, pushing him to focus. Each time he made progress, he rewarded her with a milk tea. When he finally completed all the exercises correctly, the two of them celebrated by dancing in joy. Jing Shiqi soon got used to the study rhythm, and even began to teach Chen Huaner in return, becoming her support when she grew tired. During one evening self-study session, Chen Huaner struggled to find the solution, and slumped over her desk, unable to sleep. Jing Shiqi gently told her to close her eyes, secretly placing headphones on her ears. The soft melody, combined with the warmth of his presence, helped Chen Huaner release her tension. The next day, when she returned home, she discovered that Jing Shiqi had solved her remaining exercises for her. He even sent her a message, reminding her that if she did well on the test, she owed him a cup of milk tea. The next day, Chen Huaner waited, but Jing Shiqi never showed up for class. She knocked on his door and called him, but there was no answer. Then the tragedy struck. Jing Shiqi's father had sacrificed his life in a mountain fire. The once lively, vibrant man now existed only in a black and white photograph. Standing in the rain, Chen Huaner gazed into Jing Shiqi's vacant, haunted eyes, and realized that some things simply could not be undone. Jing Shiqi didn't know how to confront such overwhelming despair. Overnight, he was forced to grow up in ways no teenager should have to. Chen Huaner arranged to meet him at their secret hideout, offering him a cup of milk tea. She told him that her own progress had improved, even adding extra sugar so he could taste the sweetness. Jing Shiqi quietly shared that he would return to school the next day. Chen Huaner thought to herself that while milk tea could be sweetened, the sorrow in his eyes could not be. Back at home, Lin Yifan handed him a registration form for the talent exam at Tongling Sports sports university. Jing Shiqi recalled the promise he had made to his father, and tears streamed down his face. At the exam, a fierce fire burned in his eyes like the very flame that had taken his father, but a leg injury thwarted his efforts, preventing him from gaining admission. Later, while talking with Song Kong, Jing Shiqi reflected on why even the hardest efforts sometimes end in regret. He recounted that the night of the accident had not been his father's assigned shift. He had changed it just to meet the sports school coach and advocate for his son. Choked with emotion, Jing Shiqi whispered that if he hadn't been so stubborn, his father might still be alive. Resolute, he vowed to take on the responsibility of caring for his family in his father's stead. On Jing Shiqi's father's birthday, his room remained tightly closed. Everyone around him had retreated, leaving him alone. Even if he opened the window, sunlight would pour in, but no natural light could penetrate a heart so firmly shut. Finally, Chen Huaner managed to wait for him. He gave her back her music player, but he couldn't linger. He had to focus on practicing for the university entrance exam, with more than 100 days still counting down. Some classmates displayed unusual behaviors, Li Tian reciting like a mantra, Xinyan praying for divine blessing. Yet the most unusual of all was Jing Shiqi himself. He became a study machine, burying his grief in relentless work. Even the teacher could not stop him. His relentless efforts steadily improved his ranking, and he refused to rest even for a moment. On New Year's Eve, Lin Yifan had to work overtime and asked Chen Huaner to keep Jing Shiqi company. Busy completing all his holiday assignments, Jing Shiqi was joined by Chen Huaner, who hatched an idea. She invited Song Kong over to Du Man's house to buy beer, showing her ID to prove she was of age. They went to Jing Shiqi's house. Song Kong barely drank half a can before falling asleep on the floor. Chen Huaner asked Jing Shiqi if he was truly okay. He confessed that he never imagined he would one day have to say goodbye to his father forever. Together they carried Song Kong to bed. Chen Huaner, overwhelmed, dozed off beside him. When she woke, Jing Shiqi was gone. She heard the ringtone from the study desk, and by chance, read the messages Jing Shiqi had left for himself. He had always blamed himself for his father's death. Panicked, Chen Huaner ran frantically searching for him. Then, a voice called out her name. It was Jing Shiqi. Chen Huaner rushed up to him, scolding Jing Shiqi for going out without his phone. The thought of opening her eyes and not seeing him had terrified her. It turned out he had gone out to buy fireworks for her, knowing how much she loved them. Jing Shiqi apologized and promised she would never lose track of him again, lighting the fireworks to comfort her. He watched as Chen Huaner's tears fell freely. She didn't know why she couldn't hold them back. She only knew how important Jing Shiqi had become to her, and how deeply his emotions affected her own. Calling her name, Jing Shiqi reassured her that for her, everything would eventually get better. As the exam countdown entered its final stage, his own mood had improved. He had learned to balance study and rest, steadily improving his performance, eventually even surpassing Chen Huaner. Jing Shiqi waited for Chen Huaner outside her home, insisting she skip her usual English tutoring. Instead, he took her to a more effective class, a cinema, where they could both relax and practice listening skills. Watching Chen Huaner smile, Jing Shiqi was momentarily lost in her happiness. Catching his gaze, Chen Huaner listened as he claimed it was because she reminded him so much of a character in the movie. Li Tian called out from the back row to maintain order, and they were surprised to realize a classmate was there as well. The classmate, noticing their closeness, wondered if Chen Huaner and Jing Shiqi were already dating. Flustered, they quickly explained they had come just to practice English listening skills. Time passed swiftly, winter gradually faded, and green leaves returned. The shadow cast by Mr. Jing's passing slowly lifted. Each day for Jing Shiqi and Chen Huaner was filled with solving problems and memorizing lessons. Yet within that routine, they found a sense of safety and rhythm. On the final evening of self-study, the school suddenly lost power. Calmly, the students turned on their desk lamps and continued working. But then, Teacher Shu asked them to put down their pens. "My dear students," he began, "over the past 3 years, I've made each of you solve countless practice tests. I've drilled endless standard answers into your minds. But life does not come with standard answers. Life is not a formula. It's best not to copy it exactly. One exam may influence your future, but it cannot define your life. Whatever the results, each of you must give your best so that you leave no regrets." In the darkness, each student carried their own private thoughts. Some smiled, some shed quiet tears. On the threshold of the wider world they wavered, yet remained steadfast in pursuit of their ideals, ready to face the life ahead. On a drizzly day, the university entrance exam was intense, with every student cherishing each moment, fighting for their future. After the exam ended, Jing Shiqi urged Chen Huaner to tidy up her old books so they could sell them and organize a small celebration. While sorting through the stack, he discovered an old notebook containing a childhood photo of Chen Huaner. Seeing her fierce little face in the picture, He was certain no one could have ever liked her back then. Chen Huaner explained that the boy in the photo was Xiao Yu, her best friend from Sishui, handsome and adorable. He was even dubbed the hot boy of Sishui. Today he was coming to visit her. Jing Shiqi ran downstairs to intercept Xiao Yu, introducing himself as Chen Huaner's closest friend. At that moment, Chen Huaner arrived to escort Xiao Yu upstairs, deliberately teasing Jing Shiqi along the way. She couldn't stop praising Xiao Yu's looks, while Jing Shiqi reminded her best friend to be a little lot more cautious. Chen Huaner recalled the nights she had once shared a bed with Xiao Yu. During dinner, she quickly claimed the seat next to him, constantly feeding him food, which drove Jing Shiqi up the wall. Aunt Li Na invited Xiao Yu to stay for a few days. Jing Shiqi suggested he could spend the night at his own house. After all, he was a boy. Aunt Li Na laughed. What could be inconvenient about him staying at his aunt's house? Realizing Chen Huaner had tricked him, Jing Shiqi hurriedly asked to leave and waited for her to visit later. He scolded her for daring to deceive him, and Chen Huaner cheekily blamed him, saying no one would ever like her anyway because she wasn't feminine. Song Kong teased Jing Shiqi for being clueless, and Jing Shiqi immediately regretted ever suggesting they try to make money together. He revealed his plan to launch a website for trading old books, intending to sell their university prep materials. Both Song Kong and Chen Huaner enthusiastically supported the idea. The group gathered at a bubble tea shop to plan their outing. Li Tian wanted to watch an action movie, while Xin Yan preferred a romance. Howlett. Jing Shiqi proposed going to an internet cafe. Girls could watch movies, and boys could play games. They noticed a photo booth, and Xin Yan eagerly pulled everyone in to capture memories of their youth. When it was Chen Huaner and Song Kong's turn, Li Tian playfully picked a heart-shaped frame for them. Jing Shiqi joined in awkwardly, snapping a photo before quickly stepping out. While looking at the images, Chen Huaner accidentally spotted photos she had once taken with Chi-Chi. Overwhelmed with nostalgia, Chi-Chi returned to the taro cake shop, reminiscing about the happiest days of her youth, the days spent playing with Chen Huaner. The familiar voice of Chen Huaner calling out to her brought tears to Chi-Chi's eyes, and she could no longer hold them back. On the day of the university exam results, Chen Huaner was overjoyed to score 602 points. Mr. Chen suggested she consider the pharmacy program at Wuhan University, but Chen Huaner felt that other universities in different provinces might offer better opportunities. Using emotional persuasion, Mrs. Li Na struggled with the thought of being separated from her daughter. Chen Huaner comforted her mother and persuaded her to agree to register for a university within the province. At the secret base, Song Kong wanted to apply to Galaxy University West, though Jing Shiqi remembered that Song Kong had always dreamed of studying medicine at Peking University. He had improved significantly, and Uncle Song continued to care for her. Chen Huaner advised Song Kong not to compromise with his mother and give up on his dream of studying medicine. Encouraged, Song Kong finally mustered the courage to speak with his mother. Seeing her son's hesitant expression, Mrs. Ching announced support for his application to the medical program at Peking University. She had long noticed Song Kong secretly reading his father's medical books. Determined to prove she could care for herself, she did not want to be a burden that held him back. Song Kong is my pride, she said. Your world is bigger than this home. With his high scores, Jing Shiqi initially planned to apply for computer science at Peking University. Seeking his mother's advice, he found her trusting him to make the right choice. In that final moment, none of them knew how their university selections would shape the future. Each of them simply followed the voice of their heart. Remembering that Chen Huaner intended to apply to Wuhan University, Jing Shiqi decided to withdraw his own application to Peking University. During their graduation trip, Chen Huaner, Chi-Chi, and Xin Yan were surprised when Jing Shiqi announced they would be going mountain climbing. Halfway up, they were already out of breath. Chen Huaner tried calling the boys, but no one answered. The guys had arrived earlier to prepare a surprise for the girls. Finally, Chen Huaner, Chi-Chi, and Xin Yan reached the summit. The unexpected fireworks could not make up for their exhaustion, and to top it off, they had to help clean up after the boys. Xin Yan complained, saying she had spent 2 hours on her makeup only to come here for hard labor. Sitting down to catch their breath, they shared the choices they had made for their future. Xin Yan would study education in Subei, Li Tian chose medicine in Shanghai, Song Kong would study medicine in Beijing, Chi-Chi opted for law in Beijing, and Chen Huaner would study pharmacy in their home province. Hearing that Jing Shiqi had applied for computer science at Peking University, Chen Huaner felt a twinge of disappointment. She realized she would be the only one staying behind in their hometown. While everyone was choosing a movie disc, Chen Huaner went to cook for the group. Jing Shiqi followed to lend her a hand. As she pulled a strand of hair from the flower, just as she sneezed, she caught Jing Shiqi daring to laugh at her. In response, Chen Huaner threatened to smear flour on his face. Trying Trying to stop her, Jing Shiqi accidentally drew her closer, leaving him flustered as he urged her to quickly put on an apron. Chen Huan-er then asked him to tie the strings behind her, and in that moment, Jing Shiqi's eyes were only on her. Just then, the others came to help. During dinner, Chen Huan-er shaped the pastries according to each person's preference: a rabbit for Chi-Chi, a flower for Xinyan, a versatile Doraemon for Song Kong, an elephant for Li Tian, who bravely pursued his dreams, and a dog bone for Jing Shiqi. Chen Huan-er admired that her friends could choose universities outside the province and hoped that no matter the distance, they would always remain friends. Everyone raised their glasses to celebrate graduation joyfully. Li Tian, tipsy from the wine, revealed that he could see through everyone's thoughts, except for Jing Shiqi, who was smart enough never to fall into the trap of love. He confided in Jing Shiqi alone. Song Kong admitted that he always strives to get what he wants, but this time he hesitated because Jing Shiqi was his closest friend. He asked Jing Shiqi if he liked Chen Huan-er. Startled, Jing Shiqi replied that Chen Huan-er was just a good friend, and that even if he had feelings for someone, it could never be her. Song Kong then declared that if Jing Shiqi didn't like Chen Huan-er, he would go after her. Jing Shiqi intended to follow, but coincidentally, Xinyan came looking for him. Meanwhile, Chi-Chi confessed to Chen Huan-er that she liked Song Kong. Chen Huan-er had realized it long ago. Curious, Chi-Chi asked if Chen Huan-er would save Song Kong or Jing Shiqi first if they both fell into the water. Chen Huan-er replied that she would save whoever was closer because they were all her good friends. Just then, Song Kong ran out to talk to Chen Huan-er privately. He confessed his feelings, saying that she had always been the most special person in his eyes. He didn't want to be like Doraemon, being kind to everyone. He only wanted to be good to her. Chen Huan-er apologized, explaining that she had only ever considered Song Kong as a close friend. Inside the house, Xinyan also confessed her feelings to Jing Shiqi. Hearing his straightforward refusal, she ran out crying. That night, everyone began to feel troubled by their own romantic dilemmas, reflecting deeply on Li Tian's words that the intelligent never fall into the trap of love. Back home, Chen Huan-er received her acceptance letter from Wuhan University. Learning that Jing Shiqi had also received his letter, she felt a sudden pang of disappointment. She texted him to congratulate him on being admitted to Peking University and arranged to meet him at their secret hideout. As Jing Shiqi approached the meeting point, he saw Chen Huan-er watering plants. Just then, Song Kong arrived to congratulate her on being accepted to Wuhan University. Noticing Chen Huan-er's embarrassed expression, he hoped she would stop avoiding him. He apologized for being a little impulsive the other day after drinking too much. Chen Huan-er reassured him that they could still be friends and asked for some time to sort out her feelings. Unseen by them, Jing Shiqi overheard their conversation and silently realized Song Kong's feelings. He texted Chen Huan-er, saying he was busy and couldn't make it to the hideout. 3 days later, still unable to meet him, Chen Huan-er noticed he was online and sent a message to check in. Jing Shiqi arranged to meet her at the secret hideout. When Chen Huan-er arrived, he handed her the money from selling the books. Puzzled, she asked if he had called her just to return the money. Jing Shiqi explained that he had been busy maintaining the website for the book sales and reminded her that she could call him if she encountered any difficulties at university. Chen Huan-er confessed that she couldn't bear to be apart from her friends. Before parting, she wanted to give Jing Shiqi a farewell hug. Watching her walk away with a melancholic figure, he smiled mysteriously. The next day, Chen Huan-er said goodbye to her parents before heading off to university. Although her studies were within the province, Mrs. Li Na couldn't hold back her tears, watching her daughter leave the comfort of home for the first time. Upon arriving at Wuhan University, Chen Huan-er immediately texted Jing Shiqi to ask if he had reached Beijing yet. Struggling to lift her suitcase onto the stairs, she was surprised to see Jing Shiqi appear. He introduced himself as a freshman majoring in computer science at Wuhan University. Instead of feeling happy, Chen Huan-er couldn't help but feel a twinge of sadness, as she had been down all summer. Ahead of them, a senior named Dian Qi came to pick up Chen Huan-er. He introduced himself as a student 1 year ahead of her at Tianhe No 1 High School. When Dian Qi offered to take her to the dormitory, Jing Shiqi wanted to decline on her behalf, but Chen Huan-er decided to accept the senior's help. Dian Qi suddenly remembered meeting Chen Huan-er in the school library before. At that time, he had borrowed a book on neuropsychology, which he still hadn't returned. Chen Huan-er realized that he was the same senior who had borrowed her book. Back at the dormitory, Chen Huan-er met her roommate, Huang Lu. Seeing Huang Lu mistakenly think that Dian Qi was her boyfriend, Chen Huan-er quickly clarified that he was just a senior. At that moment, another friend, Qiu Li, came in to introduce herself. Huang Lu treated everyone to local specialties from her hometown and explained that their remaining roommate was a bookworm who had headed straight to the library secretary upon arrival. Meanwhile, Jing Shiqi was warmly welcomed by his roommate, Zhou Ye. He called Song Kong to share the news that he had entered Wuhan University. Song Kong guessed that Chen Huan was likely just as astonished as he was, and advised Jing Shiqi to apologize to her. Passing by the sports field, Chen Huan noticed a group of girls cheering for a handsome guy playing soccer. A single glance made her recognize the same passionate demeanor she remembered from Jing Shiqi. Spotting Chen Huan he quickly ran over and asked why she hadn't replied to his messages. She used being busy as an excuse and tossed him the bag of medicine her mother had prepared. By evening, the images of Jing Shiqi playing soccer had spread across the university forum. The female students voted him as the new campus heartthrob of Wuhan University. At the Student Association's social event, Chen Huan ran into Dian Qi again. However, she was more focused on eating and drinking, as the skewers and beer were too delicious to resist. At the next table, Zhou Ye spotted Jing Qi's childhood friend and instantly snapped a photo to send him. Upon receiving the message, Jing Shiqi rushed to the event. Seeing her collapsed over the table from drinking, he asked permission to escort his friend back first. At that moment, Keely needed to use the restroom and entrusted Chen Huan to Jing Shiqi. When she mentioned that the stairs led to the dormitory, Jing Shiqi picked her up onto his back. He scolded her for being reckless, drinking too much with strangers, and causing him worry. Chen Huan admitted that it was her own foolishness that had allowed him to trick her for so long. Jing Shiqi continued to nag about her drinking, but Chen Huan told him not to worry about her. He replied that if it weren't for Aunt Li Na asking him to look after Chen Huan he wouldn't care at all. Feeling annoyed, Chen Huan wanted to go her own way. Jing Shiqi, unwilling to argue with someone intoxicated, had no choice but to carry her back to the dormitory. After a night of heavy drinking, Chen Huan officially began her university life. She was surprised to discover that Jing Shiqi was taking the same general course as her. When it was Keely's turn for attendance, Chen Huan had to impersonate her voice to cover for her classmate. Then came Huan Lu's turn, and she had to change her voice again. When it was finally her turn, the teacher realized that Chen Huan was attending on behalf of all three students. The teacher decided to mark Chen Huan Kyo Li, and Huan Lu as absent. Jing Shiqi couldn't help but laugh and even teased Chen Huan over text. After class, Chen Huan checked if she had done anything inappropriate the night before. Knowing that she didn't remember, Jing Shiqi made her pay for the medicine expenses. Zhou Ye came over to greet Chen Huan and asked for her phone number, but Jing Shiqi intervened, refusing to let Zhou Ye bother her. He then invited her to check out the clubs, recruiting new members. There, an upperclassman named Du Wei invited Jing Shiqi to join her team for the department's computer competition. Hearing that the team consisted of top students, both Zhou Ye and Jing Shiqi showed interest. Du Wei invited both of them to the upcoming meeting, and Jing Shiqi asked Chen Huan to wait a bit in advance, promising he would come find her later. On club fair day, Chen Huan happened to meet Dian Qi, who took the opportunity to help her choose a suitable club. Learning that Chen Huan knew martial arts, Dian Qi suggested that she join the sports club. Meanwhile, Jing Shiqi, having just finished his tasks, rushed to find Chen Huan He arrived to see her sitting next to Dian Qi. Watching them grow closer, he felt an increasing sense of unease. At Peking University, Qi waited for Song Kong to finish class. Hearing that the medical college had a cinema, she asked him to take her to watch a movie. Seizing the moment, Qi reminisced about old memories with Song Kong. She revealed that he was the first person to acknowledge her essay. At that moment, she felt deeply gratified, realizing that even one person understanding her meant a lot. Song Kong remembered that essay because the way she expressed herself gave him a sense of freedom. Qi shared that now she had replaced her elaborate writing style with a simpler, more sincere one, comparing it to liking someone, focusing on the essentials, and acting accordingly. During the sports club meeting, the team leader, Delin, called on members to sign up for a performance at the freshman welcome event. Since no one volunteered, he assigned Chen Huan to prepare a martial arts demonstration. A few days later, Chen Huan actively helped Jing Shiqi improve his strength so they could practice martial arts together. Unexpectedly, Du Wei, the president of the arts club, decided to cancel Chen Huan martial arts performance. Jing Shiqi couldn't help but wonder how all her hard work could be dismissed so easily. Du Wei explained that martial arts performances were somewhat outdated and that students preferred street dance and music at the student festival. She asked Jing Shiqi, as a representative of the sports club, to assist the festival organizers. When he refused, Du Wei subtly reminded him that Da Lin would report the matter to the student council president. Chen urged Jing Shiqi to follow the senior's instructions to avoid affecting the club. Da Lin, frustrated at being overshadowed by Du Wei for 3 years, came up with an idea. He decided to continue the martial arts performance at a different venue and entrusted Chen with full responsibility to lead the club in reclaiming its glory. At the student festival's organizing committee, Du Wei personally measured Jing Shiqi's costume. Jing Shiqi, aware that the senior considered martial arts outdated, felt that she shouldn't dismiss the hard work of others. Chen had learned martial arts from her father, Coach Jing, who led a competitive team that participated in tournaments both domestically and internationally. For them, martial arts was not just a way of life, but also a matter of pride. Chen felt disheartened about the cancellation of the martial arts performance. Qiu Li revealed that Du Wei's real motive was to take revenge on her ex-boyfriend by cutting the sports club's performance. 3 years ago, Du Wei had chosen Da Lin as the event host, and the two later fell in love. This year, Du Wei selected Jing Shiqi as the host, suggesting she had intentions toward him. Chen decided to focus on her own responsibilities first. Hui Han, an outstanding student, proposed a martial arts self-defense theme for female students. The next day, Da Lin borrowed an old storage room and established a women's self-defense group. Pretending to be busy, Da Lin delegated all responsibilities to the junior members. That evening, Chen was handing out flyers when Dianqi praised her idea as excellent. Noticing that the design was not very eye-catching, Dianqi, who knew a bit about design, offered to lend a hand. Meanwhile, Jing Shiqi was busy memorizing his script. Dianqi brought Chen to the office, where Jing Shiqi noticed her smiling and speaking comfortably. Seeing this made him feel uneasy inside. Du Wei arrived to rehearse lines with Jing Shiqi. The script included a line about wholehearted love, and Jing Shiqi couldn't help but glance toward Chen He visited her later, bringing her some stewed chicken. Jing Shiqi asked if she needed any help. Chen explained that Dianqi was assisting with design and sponsorships. Jing Shiqi warned her not to rely too easily on seniors, fearing she might become indebted. Chen reassured him that she had also asked Wang Lu for help, putting his mind at ease. He silently wished he could be a punching bag for her troubles. He promised to come after finishing his hosting duties. Dianqi also brought food for Chen and Jing Shiqi accepted it, noting that fried food late at night wasn't healthy. He set the food aside for her. The student festival officially began, and Du Wei gathered the organizing committee. Everyone took commemorative photos, with Du Wei linking arms with Jing Shiqi, who quickly tried to avoid it. The self-defense group had only 2 trainees. Huang Lu showed Chen some photos from Du Wei's social media, while Dianqi brought a few classmates to seek guidance. The lesson began. Chen explained that many girls had been harassed, but were too afraid to speak up due to social stigma. She wanted to teach them some basic self-defense techniques. Zhou Ye volunteered as a model, and Chen quickly took him down, causing him to cry out in pain. Seeing this, the 2 female trainees left immediately, leaving Chen disappointed. She slumped to the ground. Suddenly, more girls came forward to register. Chen asked her senior to play the role of the attacker. Dianqi hugged Chen from behind. At that moment, Jing Shiqi appeared, his smile fading completely as he saw Chen in someone else's arms. He quickly thanked Dianqi and reminded him that he had promised to be Chen punching bag, so he didn't need help from another senior. The rehearsal began. Jing Shiqi held Chen from behind, and she accidentally stepped on his foot, struck his stomach, and tapped his head. Jing Shiqi struggled to remain calm, continuing to endure the next rounds of her moves. After the rehearsal ended, Chen invited everyone out for a meal. Du Wei called Jing Shiqi, prompting him to excuse himself from the table to meet her. He remembered that earlier he had altered his hosting lines, turning them into a promotion for Chen self-defense group. Du Wei had someone pull Jing Shiqi aside, realizing that because of him, many girls had registered for Chen class. Intrigued by the self-defense program, they left the festival and headed to the sports club. Jing Shiqi apologized to Du Wei, taking full responsibility. Du Wei explained that she had already clarified everything with the student council president and had invited Jing Shiqi to express his thoughts. She even selected a piece of music for the occasion, but Jing Shiqi pretended not to understand. He then suggested inviting the arts club for a meal. The next day, Jing Shiqi went to the sports club and noticed Chen applying lipstick. She told him that she had a dinner appointment with Dianqi and needed to touch up her makeup. Jing Shiqi wanted to accompany her, but Chen reminded him about his evening schedule and added that Dianqi had asked her to come alone, so she couldn't bring him along. Later, Du Wei invited Jing Shiqi to the movies, and he agreed, intending to tease Chen At the same time, Dianqi invited Chen to watch a movie, having received received 2 tickets from the student council. Remembering Jing Shiqi's plan, Chen Huan accepted Dian Qi's invitation. When Jing Shiqi arrived at the cinema, he found no other club members present. Just as he was about to leave, Jing Shiqi spotted Dian Qi and Chen Huan together. He sat through the movie in silence, sneaking glances at Chen Huan. Du Wei, misinterpreting his attention, offered him popcorn. Watching the scene, Chen Huan began to feel jealous. Meanwhile, Zhou Ye handed Jing Shiqi a bottle of pain relief spray, which he initially thought was a gift from Chen Huan. Inside was a note addressed to him. Zhou Ye tried to share it, but Jing Shiqi quickly took it back and ran off to find Chen Huan. Chen Huan watched Jing Shiqi's promotional video and finally understood why the number of trainees had surged. Jing Shiqi called her, inviting her to go somewhere interesting. Since he had not yet taken Chen Huan to see Sishui Beach, he brought her to the swimming pool instead. Jing Shiqi had prepared 2 model yachts, eager to play with Chen Huan. She teased him about his approach, saying it was too childish and would surely fail. Jing Shiqi complimented Chen Huan for understanding dating etiquette and reminded her about the popcorn incident with Dian Qi. Chen Huan accused him of being jealous, but Jing Shiqi explained he was only keeping an eye on her at Aunt Li Na's request. Chen Huan thanked him for his help during the previous student festival. The next evening, Du Wei called Jing Shiqi downstairs, intending to confess her feelings. Not wanting Du Wei to lose face, Jing Shiqi suggested changing the location for their conversation. From a distance, Chen Huan watched the scene, mistakenly believing that Jing Shiqi would accept Du Wei's confession. However, Du Wei was rejected. She asked Jing Shiqi about the person in his heart, and he shook his head. Du Wei commented that the situation was unclear, noting that Jing Shiqi's closeness with Chen Huan had obscured each of their positions in each other's lives. Returning to the dormitory, Jing Shiqi reminisced about moments with Chen Huan, reflecting on the exact moment he had drawn close to her. The next day, sitting in class, he overheard Huang Lu discussing Chen Huan's date. Dian Qi waited for Chen Huan at the classroom door, but Jing Shiqi turned away and left. Later, Dian Qi met Chen Huan at the library. He helped her reach a book on a high shelf, and their hands brushed lightly. Dian Qi wanted to stand closer, but Chen Huan moved aside, explaining she needed to find another book. At Peking University, Song Kong met his other roommate, Lin Jingyi, the top entrance exam scorer in the medical school. Song Kong was astonished. Lin Jingyi was only 15. The young prodigy noticed errors in Song Kong's notes, making Song Kong feel inadequate for the first time. Meanwhile, Jing Shiqi overheard Zhou Ye mention that he had seen Dian Qi on a date with Chen Huan at the library. The next day, Jing Shiqi made an excuse about being busy with football and declined to have a meal with Chen Huan. In Beijing, Chi took Song Kong to an art exhibition. Chi's friend was the creator of the featured paintings. Song Kong gazed at Chi for a long time. This was the first time he had looked at her so attentively. She shone brightly amidst the crowd. Seeing Song Kong staring intently at a painting, Chi assumed he liked the statue of Venus. Song Kong denied it, explaining that he was examining the statue's muscle structure. As they stepped outside to chat, Chi asked Song Kong if he was facing any difficulties in his studies, noticing that he seemed different from before. Song Kong admitted that he increasingly felt his own inadequacy. Chi shared that in ancient Greece, there were many statues of Venus, but only one, missing both arms, became pinnacle of art history. She explained that the world is inherently imperfect and everyone has their flaws. Chi revealed that she had decided to switch from law to literature, believing that if she persisted in her choice, no difficulty could stop her. She encouraged Song Kong not to overthink things, but to move forward, assuring him that challenges would eventually pass. At the football field, Chen Huan scolded Jing Shiqi for not answering his phone all day. She noticed he seemed distracted, almost absent-minded, and asked if he was heartbroken. Jing Shiqi patted his chest and claimed he was full of admirers. Hearing Chen Huan mention Du Wei, he explained that he had already rejected her. Jing Shiqi then asked why Chen Huan would like someone as bland as Dian Qi. She replied that she simply wanted to try once to see the type of person she liked. Jing Shiqi warned her not to experiment with Dian Qi. At that moment, Chen Huan received a phone call and quickly apologized to her senior for forgetting their evening appointment. Before leaving, she surprised Jing Shiqi with a hug, remembering that today was his father's birthday. Back at the dormitory, Dian Qi waited for Chen Huan, wanting to express his feelings. He admitted that he always felt nervous whenever he met her and had intended to let his feelings feelings develop naturally, thinking there was plenty of time. However, he realized he was wrong. He knew she still had someone important in her heart. Dian-chi felt regretful that he was not that person and returned the book he had borrowed from her years ago. Chen Huan-er thanked him for his sincerity and wished him happiness, hoping he would soon find someone special. Upon hearing that Chen Huan-er had rejected her senior, Jing Shiqi bought her a cake. He had anticipated this. Chen Huan-er had once turned down Song Kong, and he believed Dian-chi could not compare to him. Curious about the type of men Chen Huan-er favored, he asked her directly. She replied that she had no ideal type. At that very moment, Chen Huan-er received a message from Chi-Chi, informing her that she and Song Kong would be returning to visit their friends. As the holiday approached, Jing Shiqi booked a mountain lodge for everyone to gather. While waiting for the room, Song Kong approached Jing Shiqi with questions, asking when his best friend planned to confess to Chen Huan-er. Song Kong revealed that he had long noticed Jing Shiqi's feelings. Jing Shiqi admitted his emotions, confessing his fear of failure and of losing both love and friendship. Meeting Jing Shiqi alone, Chen Huan-er devised a plan. She wanted to play matchmaker for Chi-Chi and Song Kong. They pretended to get soaked by water, prompting the two of them to ask Song Kong to take Chi-Chi hiking first. Back in their room, Chen Huan-er and Jing Shiqi continued plotting. They arranged for Chi-Chi and Song Kong to share a room, believing that a man and a woman together would naturally develop feelings. Chen Huan-er was skeptical, but Jing Shiqi argued that sharing a room would allow them to sense each other's presence, stay in silence together, and eventually, love would blossom. Unexpectedly, Chi's own words seemed to reflect his own situation. In silence, he and Chen Huan-er stared deeply at each other. Flustered, Jing Shiqi invited Chen Huan-er for a walk. Meanwhile, Song Kong and Chi-Chi climbed to the mountain peak, watching the mist weave through the treetops. Below in the old town, Chen Huan-er temporarily paused her plan to have them share a room. Seeing her shiver in the cold, Jing Shiqi scolded her for dressing too lightly and offered his jacket. As a result, Jing Shiqi caught a cold. He apologized for not being able to celebrate Song Kong's birthday with everyone. When Chen Huan-er heard him urging the others to go out, she realized his plan and asked Chi-Chi to organize Song Kong's birthday party instead. She decided to stay behind to care for Jing Shiqi. After everyone had gone, Chen Huan-er helped Jing Shiqi up, only to discover that his illness was more serious than she thought. Concerned, she went to cook porridge for him. Jing Shiqi instructed her to add plenty of century eggs, and he even suggested sprinkling some pepper for fragrance. By the time the porridge was ready, he had already fallen asleep. Chen Huan-er sighed in relief seeing his fever had broken. Looking at his hand, she wanted to reach out, wanting to confirm her own feelings. As her fingers lightly brushed against Jing Shiqi's hand, a desire for more welled up inside her. Then, Jing Shiqi took her hand in his. She closed her eyes to savor the moment, memories of their time together flooding back. Opening his eyes, Jing Shiqi asked what she was doing. Startled, Chen Huan-er withdrew her hand, blaming him for initiating it. Believing her words, he chuckled, claiming he had been dreaming about asking for marks. When Chen Huan-er urged him to eat the porridge, he playfully pouted, wanting her to feed him, making her embarrassed enough to run outside. Jing Shiqi thought to himself. Even in his dreams, he wanted to hold Chen Huan-er's hand. Such was the depth of his affection for her. Meanwhile, Chi-Chi gave Song Kong a stethoscope, confident that he would become an outstanding doctor. As Song Kong placed the earpieces in his ears, Chi-Chi gently set the chest piece against her heart. In that moment, Song Kong heard her heartbeat and felt his own heart stir in response. While guiding Chi-Chi, he could not control his emotions, and she unexpectedly brushed her lips against his. Song Kong's heart raced. Blushing, Chi-Chi asked him if he liked her. Back at the hotel, everyone celebrated a belated birthday for Song Kong. Jing Shiqi gifted him a box of coffee to keep him alert, while Chen Huan-er presented an anatomy book. By the fireplace, the four of them raised their glasses in a toast, celebrating Song Kong together. At the start of the new semester, Chen Huan-er and Jing Shiqi were both buried in a pile of assignments. Chen Huan-er ran into Jing Shiqi at the library, just as a senior named Fu Ying called him outside for a chat. Fu Ying had learned that Jing Shiqi ran a book exchange website and suggested turning it into a profitable system together. Back at the dormitory, Zhou Ye revealed to the group that he had just obtained advanced math exam papers from a senior. Since Jing Shiqi was the top student in the room, everyone asked him to solve the problems. Meanwhile, in another room, a roommate overheard Chen Huan-er complaining about advanced math. Taking out a set of exam papers, Chen Huan-er recognized Jing Shiqi's handwriting in the solutions. Qiuli guessed that Jing Shiqi liked Hui Han and handed the papers to her. Worried about misunderstandings, Hui Han clarified that Zhou Ye had given her the papers. In front of friends from both rooms, Hui Han revealed that she had been dating Zhou Ye since the previous month. Wang Lu was puzzled, recalling that Hui Han Chenhuan had said she only liked top students. Qiu Li argued that love doesn't follow standards, and Zhou Yi agreed, adding that he would work hard in his studies for his girlfriend. Seeing that Jing Shiqi had only just handed her the exam papers, Chen Huan scolded him for not being sincere. Jing Shiqi explained that he was worried she might not do well and had stayed up all night solving the problems. Yet he admitted that he didn't fully trust the exam papers and urged her to review thoroughly. In Beijing, Song Kong arranged to meet Qi, wanting to answer the question she had asked him on the mountain. He confessed that ever since returning from the old town he had been thinking a lot. Song Kong confirmed that the feelings he experienced that day were genuine, and then he asked Qi to be his girlfriend. Overjoyed, Qi embraced him. Finally, she had waited long enough for Song Kong's love. Excited, Qi shared the good news with Chen Huan. Upon hearing about what had happened on the mountain, Chen Huan immediately told Jing Shiqi she had thought Song Kong had crossed the line with Qi, and Jing Shiqi quickly called to scold his friend for moving too fast. He reminded Song Kong to treat Qi well, not forgetting to tease his friend for being a playboy. On the day of the advanced math exam, Zhou Ye regretted spending 500 yuan on fake papers. Hui Han apologized for giving the false exam papers to everyone, but Huang Lu didn't blame her. She only requested extra guidance when retaking the exam. In the end, the top student still ranked first. Zhou Ye lost 500 yuan and failed the course. Chen Huan scored 76 points, and to her surprise, Jing Shiqi achieved a perfect score. Regardless of the results, this was only the opening act of their university life. Everyone joyfully welcomed the Lunar New Year holiday. Back home, Chen Huan ran into her parents' arms. She gifted her mother a red scarf and her father a blue one, both hand-knitted by herself. Li Na was moved, realizing her daughter had grown up and was thoughtful toward her parents. In contrast, Qi was scolded by her mother as soon as she returned home for changing her major without permission. Qi insisted she was simply following her own path. Her mother criticized her for spending the family's money on her personal choices. Qi promised she would earn her own money for school, believing that she had matured enough to be independent. Her mother, however, emphasized that Qi had a lifelong duty to care for and obey her parents, reminding her that what she owed could never be fully repaid. Qi argued back and stormed out of the house. Meanwhile, Chen Huan's family gathered around the Lunar New Year feast. Qi arrived and asked if she could stay at Chen Huan's house for a few days. Overhearing Jing Shiqi arguing with Chen Huan, both mothers felt that the two were very compatible. Li Na commented that ultimately, the choice belonged to the children themselves. Qi stood up and suddenly announced that she was dating Song Kong. Understanding her intentions, Chen immediately made room for her to sit next to him. Back at home, Jing Shiqi noticed that his best friend seemed a bit off. Song Kong confided that he felt slightly embarrassed about Qi making their relationship public. Just then, Song Kong's father entered and shared his thoughts with his son. He advised him to take responsibility for his choices. If he truly liked someone, he should pursue them courageously. If they were to be together, he must know how to cherish the relationship. He warned him not to worry about gains or losses, as that could lead to greater regrets. Ultimately, he hoped his son would learn to love both himself and others. Meanwhile, Chen Huan asked her mother whether one should take the initiative if they liked someone. Li Na replied that encountering someone you truly like is rare, and when you find that person, you must try to hold on. Taking the initiative in love is not shameful. It is a necessary step to pursue happiness. The next day, Song Kong took Qi to the movies. He wanted to be a good boyfriend. Though being in love for the first time, mistakes were inevitable. Qi revealed that simply holding Song Kong's hand made her happy. Song Kong shared that both of his parents fully supported his relationship with her. On New Year's Eve, Chen Huan's grandmother came to celebrate with the family, but a storm hit when Chen Huan read a message from her mother. The doctor had advised her to undergo a checkup for a tumor after the holiday. Chen Huan called Jing Shiqi to their secret base and confided about her mother's condition. Jing Shiqi comforted her, reminding her that it was not yet clear whether the tumor was malignant or benign. Seeing Chen Huan's trembling hands, he empathized deeply with her. Back at home, Chen Huan found her grandmother looking through the photo album she had made for her mother. Hugging her, the grandmother assured her that everything would be all right. At that moment, they shared a secret, both willing to pretend not to know in order to ease the daughter's worries. At the hospital, Jing Shiqi brought food to Chen Huan. She told him that her mother would undergo surgery the next day. Jing Shiqi held her as she trembled and shed tears. After the operation, the doctor announced that the tumor had been successfully removed. Based on experience, it appeared benign, though final results were pending. A few days later, Li Na was discharged. She noticed Jing Shiqi's dexterous hands and thought he would make a good son son-in-law. Chen Huan-er's father wondered if Jing Shiqi had many female admirers, but Jing Shiqi replied that he was simply Chen Huan-er's loyal best friend. The next day, Chen Huan-er wanted to buy a diamond ring for her mother on her father's behalf. She was shocked to learn that even a small stone could cost so much. Hearing that a couple getting married was buying a ring worth 100,000 yuan, Chen Huan-er criticized it as ugly and quickly withdrew with her friends. At the bubble tea shop, Jing Shiqi only ordered 3 cups of plain water. Chen Huan-er scolded herself for being naive, realizing that all the red envelope money she had saved over the years wasn't nearly enough to buy a diamond ring. Receiving a message from Chi-Chi, Song Kong excused himself, wishing the two friends a happy Valentine's Day. Meeting his girlfriend, Song Kong gave Chi-Chi a pair of earrings he had made himself. She asked him to help her put them on, then sneaked a quick kiss. Chi-Chi also had a gift for Song Kong, instructing him not to open it until he got home. During the holiday, Chi-Chi took Song Kong to meet a friend. Upon learning that Song Kong was studying medicine, the friend suggested he open a private clinic abroad. Song Kong preferred public hospitals, but the friend laughed, claiming they were not profitable. A female friend beside them gifted Chi-Chi a luxurious pair of earrings, delighting her, though Song Kong felt out of place. After the meal, the friend wanted Song Kong to treat everyone, now that he was Chi-Chi's boyfriend. The female friend stopped him, but Song Kong also wanted to pay. The bill, however, exceeded his means, forcing him to use a credit card. Meanwhile, Chen Huan-er took Jing Shiqi to a bakery and ordered 2 cups of hot chocolate. He recalled how the school taught students to strive for top universities to secure a better life. But Jing Shiqi realized that life was far more complicated than that. Chen Huan-er reminded him not to use that as an excuse to skip studying, while Jing Shiqi teased her to treat him well, or she would spend Valentine's Day alone next year. Chen Huan-er retorted that he was single too. Hearing that, Jing Shiqi suggested that if they were both single, they might as well enjoy discounted couples ice cream together. Back at home, Song Kong discovered that the gift Chi-Chi had given him was a men's shirt worth 8,000 yuan. Meeting Chi-Chi, he returned the gift, saying it was too expensive. Chi-Chi insisted that money was just a number. What mattered was the thought behind it. Besides, she had also received the earrings Song Kong had given her. She told him to accept the gift and promised not to give anything so expensive next time. Jing Shiqi received an invitation from the technology company Huandao. Jiang Shen, the branch manager in Wuhan, praised Jing Shiqi's old book exchange website and proposed 2 options. 1. The company could build an identical platform to compete with him. 2. They could provide capital and technical support for Jing Shiqi to run his current website, with profits shared. Jing Shiqi agreed to consider the offer and promised to get back to them later. A semester passed by in the blink of an eye. During the holiday, Chen Huan-er took her parents to have their wedding photos taken. All 3 families in the apartment complex came to celebrate the marriage of her parents. Mr. Chen admitted that he had always been rough around the edges and not very romantic. Ever since his wife fell ill, he had constantly wondered how he could be a better husband. In the end, he had to rely on his daughter's ideas. He told Li Na that he had owed her a proper proposal for years and asked if she would marry him. Finally, Mr. Chen was able to make up for the greatest regret of his wife's life. In that joyful moment, Jing Shiqi's gaze fell on Chen Huan-er. She was the owner of his heart. Knowing that his mother would miss his father, Jing Shiqi gave her a bouquet of purple roses, explaining that purple roses symbolize eternal love. No matter where his father was, the love between them would endure forever. During a walk, Jing Shiqi scolded Chen Huan-er for daring to keep her parents' proposal plan a secret. She reassured him not to be upset, insisting that she hadn't meant to hide it. Jing Shiqi caught a pleasant scent, thinking Chen Huan-er had sprayed perfume. She denied it, then sniffed him instead. Seeing Chen Huan-er suddenly shy and retreat, Jing Shiqi pulled her closer. She felt an itch on her nose, but he didn't want to miss the moment. Their lips lightly met, marking their first kiss. As officially theirs, Chen Huan-er smiled, resting gently on Jing Shiqi's shoulder, thinking the scent he noticed was actually her pheromones, the natural fragrance that attracts a lover. He held her hand on the way home, but let go briefly to wipe his sweat, then shyly took her hand again. Chen Huan-er asked if that had been their first kiss. Jing Shiqi confirmed that he had never dated before. She thought he seemed experienced, but he explained that he had simply watched too many romantic films and unintentionally imitated them. So, does that mean we're a couple now? Chen Huan-er asked. She denied it, saying he hadn't officially confessed yet. Jing Shiqi then called her by name, admitted that he liked her, and asked if she would be his girlfriend. Chen Huan-er hadn't yet replied. Just then, her father called from inside the house. He knew that Jing Shiqi and Chen Huan-er were good friends, but warned them not to get too carried away in conversation. Back at home, Jing Shiqi was calling Chen Huan-er when her mother suddenly entered the room. Seeing him hang up before her, Chen Huaner was at a loss for words, but Jing Shiqi urged her mother to go to bed early and quickly texted Chen Huaner. He confirmed that he had been serious earlier. Chen Huaner, will you be my girlfriend? She replied. Good night, my boyfriend. Jing Shiqi responded. Good night, my girlfriend. Both of them were overjoyed to finally escape singlehood, and Jing Shiqi was so ecstatic that she even broke her bed in excitement. Early the next morning, Jing Shiqi went to visit his girlfriend. Seeing him in discomfort from a sore back, Chen Huaner invited him to sit. He hesitated, unsure where to sit, but she reminded him as she had before. Jing Shiqi interjected, saying their relationship had changed now, so things were different. Suddenly, Mr. Chen appeared and asked what they had been talking about so early in the morning. Jing Shiqi explained that they had only been discussing a few things about the new semester. Mr. Chen took the opportunity to ask Jing Shiqi to keep an eye on Chen Huaner and make sure no mischievous boys came near his daughter. Once Miss Chen left, Jing Shiqi quickly closed the door, feeling like a gray wolf caught stealing. Aware that Mr. Chen had entrusted him to watch over her, Chen Huaner thought it best to keep their relationship a secret from their parents for the time being, but she still wanted to tell Song Kong and Chi Chi. Jing Shiqi laughed, reminding her that he had already let it slip the night before. They arranged to meet at a bubble tea shop. Chen Huaner casually acted close to Jing Shiqi, noticing his awkwardness. She assumed that Song Kong and Chi Chi wouldn't be surprised either. Song Kong confirmed that the whole world already knew about Jing Shiqi and Chen Huaner's feelings. He revealed that Jing Shiqi had liked Chen Huaner for a long time, but had never dared to confess. Hearing that Chen Huaner would be returning to school the next day, Chi Chi lamented that she couldn't get a paired ticket with Song Kong. Learning that he was seated in carriage 12, she wanted to exchange her business class ticket so she could sit next to him. Song Kong thought it unnecessary, but Chi Chi felt it was worth it just to be near him. Chen Huaner quietly asked if Chi Chi's mother had already locked her card, and Chi Chi explained that she had earned some money by selling a few handbags, so she still had enough. Later, Chi Chi's mother told her that she had read her online works. While her views were a bit old-fashioned, she acknowledged her daughter's writing talent. If Chi Chi wanted to pursue literature seriously, she advised studying abroad. Writing well required not only talent, but also broad knowledge and vision. She believed that overseas experience could cultivate Chi Chi's work, and warned that if she only wrote for online publications, she might gradually lose her love for literature. Her hope was that Chi Chi would follow her dreams without regrets. Zhou Ye walked his girlfriend back to the dormitory, while Jing Shiqi demonstrated the strength of a boyfriend by effortlessly lifting Chen Huaner's suitcase. Chen Huaner thought it might be a good opportunity to make their relationship public to their roommates. Just then, Zhou Ye also brought Weihan back to the dorm, carrying some local specialties and inviting the girls to join the boys' dorm for a hot pot meal. Chen Huaner agreed, reasoning that the worst that could happen was getting scolded by the dorm manager. She reminded Jing Shiqi to keep the room tidy, and he insisted that their room had never been messy. Reality, however, proved otherwise. Jing Shiqi immediately delegated cleaning tasks, warning that anyone who failed to comply would no longer be allowed to copy his homework. As a result, the dorm manager gave a special welcome to the returning students. Jing Shiqi thought that if the three girls disguised themselves cleverly, no one would recognize them. Coincidentally, one student greeted Chen Huaner. Huang Lu bravely stepped forward, moving like a gust of wind so that the manager couldn't get a clear look. Jing Shiqi led a group to intentionally distract the manager, and in the end, the three girls successfully entered the boys' dorm. Whispering to Chen Huaner, Jing Shiqi thought that soon he would make their relationship official. They sat around the hot pot, with Zhou Ye constantly serving food to his girlfriend. Chen Huaner and Jing Shiqi both felt that the perfect moment to go public had arrived. Jing Shiqi eagerly fed Chen Huaner while she kept praising the food. Yet, no one seemed to notice them, until finally, someone did. Jing Shiqi and Chen Huaner had set matching profile pictures. Jing Shiqi was about to jubilantly announce their relationship, but Huang Lu assumed it was just a coincidence. Jing Shiqi wondered why no one thought they were dating. Everyone burst out laughing, claiming that if Jing Shiqi and Chen Huaner liked each other, they would have been dating long ago. Moreover, Zhou Ye remembered Jing Shiqi's preference for mature, older-type girls. Jing Shiqi quickly explained that it was just a rumor. Huang Lu insisted that Jing Shiqi's feelings were likely one-sided, as Chen Huaner had no interest in the childhood sweetheart motif. She recalled that last year, in a love game, Chen Huaner had picked a domineering CEO type. Chen Huaner hurriedly clarified that it was just a game, and she had chosen randomly. Jing Shiqi decided it was time to officially announce their relationship, but before she could finish, the electricity suddenly went out. The dorm manager discovered someone was using too much power and came to check the rooms. Everyone scrambled to clean up and prepare prepare for her inspection. Chen Huan hid in Jing Shiqi's blanket. Sneaking a few precious seconds of peace, Huang Lu was under a blanket with Yan Mu, just as he accidentally passed gas. The dorm manager noticed a pink-socked foot sticking out from Jing Shiqi's blanket. He explained he had a quirky habit, and despite the chaos, they managed to fool the manager. Jing Shiqi and Chen Huan met at a bakery. Both lamented that their friends refused to believe they were dating. Jing Shiqi looked around and noticed one couple feeding each other, while another was kissing. Chen Huan insisted that such behavior was inappropriate in public but acceptable in private. To create a private moment, Jing Shiqi and Chen Huan arranged with the club supervisor to use the clubroom on Wednesday afternoon. Jing Shiqi shaved and spritzed on fragrant cologne, while Chen Huan applied lipstick and practiced kissing techniques. That day, when Chen Huan arrived at the club, Jing Shiqi presented her with a red rose and arranged nuts to spell out the word love. They clumsily tried to lean in for a kiss, but Chen Huan pulled back, saying she didn't feel anything yet. Jing Shiqi admitted that the situation was a little awkward. Then, Chen Huan got an idea. She had seen in movies that couples pressed against a cupboard while kissing, so she called her boyfriend over to replicate the scene. Seeing that Jing Shiqi lacked experience, Chen Huan took the initiative to press close to him. Jing Shiqi, unwilling to be outdone, wanted to try again, but the sight of his expression made her burst out laughing. He scolded her, saying that the more she laughed, the harder it was for him to continue. Jing Shiqi asked his girlfriend to close her eyes so he could focus better. It worked. He could no longer resist Chen Huaner's lips and leaned in closer. Right at the moment Zhou Ye walked in, Zhou Ye casually ruined the nut arrangement spelling love and left, oblivious. Jing Shiqi was speechless with frustration. Later, Jing Shiqi and Chen Huaner held hands as they entered the gym. Chen Huaner asked when he had started liking her. Jing Shiqi couldn't recall the exact moment, only that he had been impressed with her from the first time they met. Chen Huaner revealed a small secret. On the mountain, she had been the one to take his hand first. Surprised, Jing Shiqi pulled her close, and just as the lights flickered out, he boldly pressed a sweet, lingering kiss on her lips. Their friends came over to congratulate Jing Shiqi and Chen Huaner on becoming a couple. It turned out they had known all along. Jing Shiqi, feeling embarrassed, hurriedly pulled his girlfriend away. Meanwhile, in Beijing, Song Kong had to go to a bar to pick up his girlfriend. Although he knew he was in the middle of exams, Chi still coaxed him into having a drink with her. After he finished, she wanted to stay and play longer. In that moment, Song Kong suddenly felt out of place in her world. He escorted Chi home, reminding her to sleep well so he could return to his studies. Chi didn't want him to leave and began doubting Song Kong's love. Noticing how differently he treated Chen Huaner, she confronted him, saying she had seen the way he acted around Chen Huaner. Song Kong admitted that he had once liked Chen Huaner so much that he lost himself. Now, being more mature, he realized that way of loving was wrong. He told Chi that he was always trying to treat her well, to be worthy of her feelings, yet she said he was doing it wrong. Confused, he wondered what he must do to get it right. Chi remembered that he had once said a person shouldn't change themselves for love, yet it was only after she changed that he began to like her. In front of Song Kong, she always had to act in ways he liked. Chi wondered if Song Kong would still like her true self. She was someone who often spoke passionately about literature, but had written trivial stories online for a small reward. She claimed to be independent, yet sold the handbags her mother had bought to maintain a bit of dignity. She longed for a love that was equal, yet felt the need to be cautious in every detail around Song Kong. Chi was weak and vain at times. Would he still like her? Song Kong knew that Chi wasn't really like that. She was sensitive, but had a kind heart. She had ambition and a thirst for freedom, stronger than anyone else. Chi pushed Song Kong away, wanting to be herself. Song Kong recalled his conversation with Jing Shiqi. He was willing to devote himself to giving Chi a better life, yet the career he pursued could never fully provide the lifestyle she expected. He had once thought that sincere feelings alone were enough for love, but now he realized that his affection for Chi could never overcome family pressures and social expectations. During the holiday, Jing Shiqi and his girlfriend returned home, reluctant to part even though their houses were only a few steps apart. Chen Huaner, noticing Jing Shiqi's mother nearby, quickly let go of his hand and pretended to compliment his muscle training. Back at her own home, Lina taught her daughter that a man must take responsibility. She had long noticed Jing Shiqi's feelings, seeing how he had constantly paid attention to Chen Huaner since high school. The next day, Chen Huaner took advantage of her parents being away to visit her boyfriend. She shared that after her mother fell ill, her father had grown to cherish the time spent with her. She hoped Jing Shiqi and Chen Huaner would love each other just like her parents. Jing Shiqi promised that they would. Through the window, window, Mr. Chen caught Jing Shiqi and Chen Huaner sneaking around. In front of Chen Huaner's parents, Jing Shiqi officially introduced himself as her boyfriend. He apologized for not knowing how to speak up before, but assured them that he truly liked Chen Huaner and would take good care of her. Mr. Chen couldn't hide his anger, feeling that Jing Shiqi had deceived him. Chen Huaner, sensing the tension, quickly pushed Jing Shiqi home. Lina, however, saw that Jing Shiqi was sincere and that her daughter had never caused her parents any worry before. She scolded her husband for not listening to their child's feelings. Mr. Chen moved shed tears, realizing it was his first time being a father. Early the next morning, Mr. Chen stormed over to see Jing Shiqi. He apologized for losing control of his emotions and shared that when Chen Huaner was just born, she had been like a fragile little kitten. To him, his wife and daughter were the two most important people in his life. So, if anyone threatened to take one of them away, it was hard for him to accept. As someone with life experience, he knew that young people often promised much but delivered little, and that very few couples stayed together for life after falling in love just once. He told Jing Shiqi that if he and Chen Huaner truly loved each other, he would bless their relationship. But Jing Shiqi must never bully Chen Huaner, and if their love ever ended, they must part peacefully, so that one day, even if he were gone, Chen Huaner would still have a good friend by her side. Jing Shiqi reassured Mr. Chen that he would take good care of Chen Huaner, who was also the most important person in his heart. Watching from downstairs, Mr. Chen couldn't hold back his tears and gently stroked his beloved daughter's head. Chi told Song Kong that she was planning to study abroad. Song Kong supported her decision, recognizing that it would benefit her literary pursuits. Yet, deep down, Chi secretly wished he would try to stop her, as that would mean he wanted to be a part of her future. Suddenly, Chi said to Song Kong, "Let's break up." Both of them had always valued freedom, but the freedom they sought was not the same. In order to be with Song Kong, she had changed so much that she had almost lost herself. Chasing after his back for so long had left her exhausted. Song Kong understood Chi-Chi's feelings because in this very moment he too was struggling to catch up with her. In the vibrant, colorful life Chi-Chi lived, he was perhaps just an ordinary, dull student. Chi-Chi wanted, one last time, to embrace the warmth she had been chasing throughout her youthful years. Time flew by, and by the third year of university, Chen Huaner was preparing for the direct entry master's program. Jing Shiqi informed her that he would be meeting at the partnership table with Huandao Technology Company. They planned to invest in him for development. After graduation, he would join the company, which would help expand his team. He worried that his busy schedule might leave him with less time for Chen Huaner, though she never liked clingy partners. Aware that today was his girlfriend's period, Jing Shiqi thoughtfully bought red sugar water for Chen Huaner. He mentioned that Aunt Li Na had repeatedly warned her not to drink cold beverages on such days. Knowing she didn't like the taste of ginger, he insisted she drink it all. Chen Huaner pouted playfully and leaned lightly against her boyfriend. It was only upon arriving at Huandao Technology that Jing Shiqi realized his senior, Fu Ying, had introduced him to the company. To show his gratitude, he invited her out for a meal. Coincidentally, his girlfriend was planning to visit that evening, so he wanted to bring her along. Zhou Ye questioned him, asking if he wasn't worried that Chen Huaner might get jealous. Jing Shiqi recalled that a photo of him and Fu Ying had once circulated on the school forum, but he firmly asserted his small innocence. Besides, he knew Chen Huaner wouldn't be jealous without reason. That evening, Chen Huaner arrived slightly late, as the distance from the school to Huandao Technology was a bit far. Fu Ying suggested that Jing Shiqi consider renting a place near the company, even recommending her own neighborhood. Jing Shiqi worried about making his girlfriend jealous, but Chen Huaner proactively asked Fu Ying for the landlord's contact. She also inquired what shade of lipstick her senior was wearing. Fu Ying burst out laughing, thinking Chen Huaner was curious about her profession. Chen Huaner believed that women could pursue any career they wished. Her senior could learn programming, and she herself studied martial arts. As a result, Jing Shiqi found himself sidelined in the conversation. When leaving, Chen Huaner reminded her boyfriend to behave and focus on work. Jing Shiqi swore under the streetlight that he would obey her, but seeing his girlfriend still hesitant, he sealed the promise with a kiss. While delivering documents to her professor, Chen Huaner unexpectedly ran into Dian Qi. It turned out he was the professor's directly admitted master's student. After class, Chen Chen Huan helped her boyfriend tidy up his new apartment. So absorbed in the work, she lost track of time and almost missed curfew at the dorm. Jing Shiqi stammered as he invited her to stay over. She would sleep on the bed while he could stay up to finish his work. Jing Shiqi led Chen Huan to the bathroom. While preparing his own things, he even lent her a set of his clothes. He shyly reassured her that he had no intentions beyond what was appropriate, so she could feel at ease while bathing. Unfamiliar with the bed, Chen Huan tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Jing Shiqi suggested she think of happy things to drift off more easily. Chen Huan imagined a small house in the future, with walls covered in photos, pictures of them in the past, the present, and even the future. She pictured a flower, garden, and a little dog to care for. Just as Jing Shiqi had promised, she gradually fell asleep. He quietly leaned over and pressed a gentle kiss to her cheek, whispering that having her by his side was all he ever needed. On the occasion of their trip to Wuhan, the group organized a reunion. They noticed how Jing Shiqi obediently followed Chen Huan's lead. Xinyan remarked that time was like a remedy, transforming the once rebellious boy into a devoted partner. Just then, Li Tian arrived to join the fun. Chen Huan learned that he would soon transfer to a hospital where his father was in charge. Li Tian lamented that, no matter his achievements, he could never have a romance like Jing Shiqi and Chen Huan's. He even suggested that Song Kong and Du Man, who attended the same university, might consider dating. Thus, their third year of university ended on a gentle note. Yet, a sudden farewell melody of youth played unexpectedly, signaling that everyone would soon have to face society and the future. At Huandao Technology, Zhang Shen introduced the new team to Jing Shiqi. They were all pillars of the engineering department. Jing Shiqi greeted them with excitement, only to find that they didn't even bother shaking his hand. As graduation approached, each of them felt the weight of reality. The 4 years of university seemed like a fleeting joy, with an inevitable parting. Once they stepped out of the campus gates, all the privileges and perks of student life would vanish. No one knew what awaited them in the future. They could only occasionally pause to watch the new students enjoying campus life, a fleeting reminder of their own bright and vibrant youth. Wanting to surprise her boyfriend, Chen Huan planned to take him out for a nourishing meal. She also reminded Zhou Ye to visit Hui Han, who was feeling stressed about job hunting. At the restaurant, Jing Shiqi received a call from his boss, Jiang Shen. Jiang Shen questioned him about why he had let a new team member leave the group. Jing Shiqi wondered aloud, if they weren't willing to work, shouldn't they stay and serve him instead? Jiang Shen reminded him that he needed to ensure the project launch stayed on schedule. Chen Huan suggested that Jing Shiqi should use his abilities to make the others respect him. She recalled a scene from his high school days, when no matter what obstacles arose, he always pressed forward with determination. The next day, Jing Shiqi decided to voice his opinion directly to Engineer Tai. He revealed that the first order on his website consisted of his own and their study materials. Within the pages of those old notebooks lay not only knowledge, but also cherished memories and dreams. He didn't want those things to fade away with the passage of time. Engineer Tai praised the startup story as very interesting, yet he reminded Jing Shiqi that customers don't pay for stories alone. Jing Shiqi learned that Engineer Tai had only been promoted once in 7 years at Huandao. As he hadn't successfully secured any project funding in recent years, he realized that the company's decision to assign him to support newcomers like himself might feel a little unfair. Still, Jing Shiqi believed that Engineer Tai needed a project to launch quickly, while he needed the engineer's technical experience. Only through collaboration could they achieve success. Meanwhile, Chen Huan was overjoyed at passing the direct entry master's program. However, her happiness was tinged with disappointment upon learning that her friend had to give up the dream of graduate school. Hui Han had to return to her hometown to find an ordinary job to support her younger brother's university education. In the blink of an eye, the dormitory members had all gone their separate ways. At the hospital, Song Kong and Du Man witnessed a patient's death for the first time. A heavy feeling settled in their hearts as they trudged back to their rented apartment. Du Man ordered some food and invited Song Kong to eat together. She confided that she had imagined countless times what it would be like to watch a patient die right before her eyes, but experiencing it in reality made her realize she had overestimated herself. Song Kong thought that time would gradually accustom them to the cycle of life. Overwhelmed by their tangled emotions and the lingering effects of alcohol, both Song Kong and Du Man momentarily lost control. They hurriedly composed themselves and continued eating their noodles. Afterward, Du Man accompanied Song Kong home. Just Just as her mother arrived looking for her, she explained that she had borrowed money and had come to ask for help. Dumon confronted her mother, questioning why she had abandoned her when she was just a little girl. After more than 15 years, she returned only to demand money. Her mother blamed her ex-husband's affair as the reason she had left, claiming she had no choice but to ask her daughter for help now. Dumon recalled that, in the brief moment just before, she had felt genuinely happy, thinking her mother had come to care for her, but she realized that her mother was undeserving of the title. Through the wall, Song Kong overheard Dumon's entire story. Hearing a knock at the door, he decided to step outside. There, he saw a girl carrying the weight of so many hidden wounds. In Wuhan, Chen Huan had just defended her graduation thesis. Under the warm glow of candlelight, the four girls chatted together before parting ways. Huihan confided that she would soon return to her hometown and might have to say goodbye to Zhou Ye. During the graduation ceremony, Chen Huan felt a trace of sadness. Jing Shiqi hadn't shown up, and she assumed he was busy preparing for a project launch. But at the moment she least expected, he appeared, lifting her into his arms to celebrate her graduation with joy. His presence marked a perfect conclusion to Chen Huan's university life. With the support of Engineer Tai's team, Jing Shiqi managed to complete the project on time during the final stretch. Company leaders praised his abilities highly. Later, at a hot pot dinner, Chen Huan congratulated her boyfriend for reaching over 500,000 registrations on the platform he had just launched. He mentioned that the company wanted him to transfer to the headquarters in Beijing to continue developing the platform. Although it was a great opportunity, he dreaded being in a long-distance relationship for 3 years. Chen Huan decided to flip a coin. Whether by plane or train, she would accompany him to the interview. She knew that, regardless of the outcome, Jing Shiqi wanted to give it a try. In Beijing, Chen Huan waited downstairs, wishing her boyfriend a smooth journey. The leadership invited Jing Shiqi to tour the workspace at the headquarters, emphasizing that he needed to make decisions quickly, as competition for a position here was fierce. Taking advantage of the trip to Beijing, Jing Shiqi brought Chen Huan to visit Song Kong and Dumon. Seeing Jing Shiqi and Chen Huan so close, Dumon teasingly asked when they would get married. Jing Shiqi overheard Chen Huan insist she had no intention of marrying him, and he pleaded with her to step outside for a moment to save his dignity. While questioning Song Kong, Jing Shiqi suddenly realized how miraculous the bond between Song Kong and Dumon was. They had attended the same high school, then became university classmates, and later interned at the same hospital. Song Kong asserted that his focus was solely on work. Hearing Song Kong inquire about him, Jing Shiqi shared that Beijing was indeed a fertile ground to develop his project. He also sensed that Chen Huan was worried about a long-distance relationship. Song Kong observed that Chen Huan must secretly hope that Jing Shiqi would pursue what he truly wanted. On the last day in Beijing, Chen Huan urged Jing Shiqi to stay. If he returned to Wuhan, he would surely regret it. She didn't want that regret to stem from her. If he made the wrong choice, they would face it together and make it right. Jing Shiqi replied that they were still young and had plenty of time ahead. Back in Wuhan, Chen Huan organized her boyfriend's belongings. Hearing her careful instructions, Jing Shiqi recalled how his mother had packed for his father when he was transferred for work. From behind, he hugged his little girl tightly. Chen Huan comforted him, though she could not fully ease the longing in his heart. At Huandao Technology, the boss welcomed 3 new employees officially joining the headquarters. He announced plans to expand the project's scope from trading secondhand books to selling illustrated books, then audiobooks, and eventually printed books from publishers. In a private meeting with the boss, Jing Shiqi questioned why the proposal presented in the meeting differed from their prior discussion. The boss explained it was the result of market research. Jing Shiqi argued that if they always chased the market, the website would lose its unique identity. The boss appreciated Jing Shiqi's vision, but emphasized that the company needed product revenue. Jing Shiqi requested some additional time to devise a better plan. The boss agreed to give him half a month, warning that failure to deliver would mean he would have to leave Huandao. During lunch break, Jing Shiqi called Chen Huan. He confided that the company planned to change the website's format, but he didn't want to compromise. Chen Huan trusted that he would handle it well. She also mentioned that she had just met Dian Qi. Since they shared the same laboratory, they would be running into each other frequently. Chen Huan worried that Jing Shiqi might mind, but he reassured her that he wasn't petty. All he wanted was for her to do her work well, and for him to continue supporting her. At the lab, Chen Huan was assigned one task after another by a senior named Gao Heng. He even demanded that she help write a specialized report. Chen Huan refused firmly, arguing that it was against the rules and that if the professor found out, both of them would be reprimanded. Dian Qi Shi pleaded with the senior not to be so strict with Chen Huan-er, promising that he would help with the report once he finished his own work. Gao Heng reminded them that it was the responsibility of first-year master's students and decided to revoke Dian Qi's eligibility to attend the clinical medical forum. Chen Huan-er recalled entering university full of ambition, only to realize, once she stepped into the real world, how naive she had been. Society outside the home and school wasn't forgiving unconditionally. Everyone had to face a path of growth filled with setbacks, not only in work but in relationships as well. Missed calls and unanswered messages increasingly unsettled her heart. Early in the morning, Jing Shiqi called Chen Huan-er, apologizing for being too busy with a meeting last night to notice her messages. Chen Huan-er was about to mention her stomach pain, but at that moment, Jing Shiqi was occupied with work. At the laboratory, Chen Huan-er suddenly felt dizzy. Luckily, Dian Qi rushed over to support her. When she regained consciousness in the hospital, she hurried to answer Jing Shiqi's call. He learned that she had gastritis and was extremely worried. Just then, Dian Qi brought porridge to her. Jing Shiqi instructed her to eat it all to avoid fainting again. Chen Huan-er explained to her boyfriend that since Dian Qi was also in the lab, he had accompanied her to the hospital. Back at home, Jing Shiqi was anxious and restless. He ignored the meeting to finalize plans. At that moment, all he wanted was to be there when Chen Huan-er needed him most. That night, he immediately rented a car and rushed back to Wuhan. Upon arriving at the dorm, he saw Dian Qi bringing Chen Huan-er inside. Facing what he considered a rival, Jing Shiqi thanked Dian Qi for taking care of his girlfriend, but he warned that next time, if something similar happened, he didn't want Dian Qi touching her. Dian Qi questioned him. If Jing Shiqi truly loved Chen Huan-er, why hadn't he noticed she was sick? If he couldn't be there when she needed him, he had no right to stop others from caring for her. Meanwhile, Chen Huan-er received a call from Gao Heng, instructing her to pack her bags for a field survey the next day. She asked if she could postpone it by a few days, but he threatened to remove her from the specialized project group. Receiving a message from Jing Shiqi, Chen Huan-er hurried downstairs to meet him. He explained that he hadn't finished the project yet, and she urged him to get back to work quickly. Jing Shiqi asked if she didn't want him to visit. Chen Huan-er replied that she was afraid of interrupting his work. Jing Shiqi told her that he didn't want to be the last to know when she was sick, nor did he want Dian Qi to be the one taking care of her. Chen Huan-er felt disappointed, sensing that he was doubting her. She confronted him, asking if he would have come to see her at all without Dian Qi. She reminded him how long it had been since they had a proper phone call, and said she didn't want to see his activities on Fu Ying's WeChat feed. Jing Shiqi replied that he was already under enough pressure and was trying his best to finish his work so he could come back to her. As soon as he arrived, Jing Shiqi saw Dian Qi bringing Chen Huan-er back to the dorm. When they finally met, her first words were that she wanted him to leave. That day, Chen Huan-er asked Jing Shiqi to be more mature, not just him but herself as well. She was exhausted, juggling classes and lab experiments every day, and she even had to go on a field survey up the mountain the next day. Just then, Fu Ying called to report on work progress. Chen Huan-er urged Jing Shiqi to return to his project, knowing how important the website was to him, while she needed to organize her own equipment. The following day, Jing Shiqi heard on the radio that several areas were experiencing storms and heavy rain. Worried, he tried to call Chen Huan-er but couldn't reach her. He had no choice but to contact Dian Qi to get the address of her field survey. On his way, he informed Fu Ying that he had sent the updated plan via message and asked her and Zhou Ye to present it to the leadership. As the rain began on the mountain, Chen Huan-er hurriedly packed up her experimental samples. Jing Shiqi learned from Gao Heng that she had gone up the mountain to collect samples, and there had been no news since. Furious, he questioned why she was sent out despite the approaching storm, and rushed to find her. In the midst of the pouring rain, Jing Shiqi realized that this was the very mountain where his father had perished. His father's voice suddenly echoed in his mind. "You've worked hard these past years, now you have truly grown." Suddenly, a hand grabbed Jing Shiqi, and Chen Huan-er's face appeared before him. Once the rain subsided, they lit a fire to keep warm on the mountain. Without cell signal, they had no choice but to wait until morning to descend. Chen Huan-er explained that the small cabin was a supply station for collecting experimental samples. She handed Jing Shiqi a sample of plant soil from the site of the previous fire. Jing Shiqi told her not to be upset with him, reflecting that he had spent the past few days thinking about why he had gone to Beijing. For an entire month, he had been so busy he forgot to eat and sleep, yet his heart felt empty. Back in Wuhan, his favorite time was 6:30 in the evening, just a subway ride and 3 bus transfers away from being with her. But in Beijing, no bus could take him back to her side. Chen Huan-er added that ever since he left, Wuhan had felt unfamiliar to her, yet she was still very happy, for her heart carried the imprint blueprint of one person who had always silently supported her from behind. Perhaps to others, he seemed unreliable, but to her, those very flaws were what she needed. She thanked him for letting her meet him. Jing Shiqi called her name and confessed, "I love you." Chen Huaner replied in kind, "I love you too." Early the next morning, Jing Shiqi walked past rows of trees and reached out to touch the tallest trunk. He thought that, whenever the wind rustled through the leaves, each whisper was a farewell his father never got to say. In the end, all those whispers would gather into the gentlest strength, helping him neither dwell in the past nor fear the path ahead back to Beijing. Jing Shiqi noticed Zhou Ye packing up his things. Fu Ying remarked that no matter how good a plan might be, the superiors would not approve it. At Huandao, every project was closely tied to the company's future. They couldn't change direction based on the ideas of newcomers. She also shared that she had long been promoted to department director, yet she wanted to stay with her colleagues to complete one final romantic dream. Jing Shiqi decided to return to his hometown with Zhou Ye. As he didn't share the same perspective as Huandao technology, Fu Ying wished the two juniors would soon find a path that suited them. Meanwhile, Gao Heng mistakenly opened an old report without noticing. The professor questioned him about his contributions to the experiment. Chen Huaner bravely spoke up, saying that all the data had been collected by her and Dian Qi. The professor then allowed Chen Huaner to present the project in place of Gao Heng. After finishing her presentation, Chen Huaner called to report to her boyfriend. Hearing that she wanted to treat him, Jing Shiqi jokingly asked for an extra pair of chopsticks. Suddenly, he appeared before her. Overjoyed, Chen Huaner ran into his arms. Jing Shiqi revealed that he had quit his job at Huandao, and from now on, he would have to rely on her to support him. Upon learning that he had rented their old room again, Chen Huaner decided to pack her things and move in with him. Back at the apartment, while Chen Huaner was taking a shower, the power went out. Jing Shiqi quickly lit candles and asked if he could step out for a moment. Feeling a bit scared, she asked him to stay a little longer. Under the warm candlelight, Chen Huaner kept calling his name. The days apart had only made her cherish these moments with him even more. Jing Shiqi and Chen Huaner had journeyed through so much, and in the end, they were finally together. At the meeting, everyone admired how Jing Shiqi and Chen Huaner remained as affectionate as when they first fell in love. Noticing the ring on Li Tian's finger, they realized he had just gotten engaged. Xin Yan wondered why Song Kong and Du Man, working at the same hospital, hadn't yet sparked a romance. Both Song Kong and Du Man explained that they were teammates and close neighbors first. Just then, Chi returned to visit her friends. She shared that she was about to publish her first book and had recently fallen in love. The group began reminiscing about old memories, teasing each other about youthful crushes and petty quarrels. Chi asked if everyone was living the life they truly wanted. The question left them all momentarily reflective. Chen Huaner and Jing Shiqi felt fulfilled, simply because they had each other. Li Tian was satisfied with his current life. Song Kong and Du Man were doing reasonably well, and Xin Yan had passed the civil service exam just as she had hoped. Chi reflected that life is like a blank sheet of paper. We choose the colors we like and paint our own picture. Jing Shiqi invited everyone over to his home, where it turned out he had preserved the 18-year-old film each of them had sent to their future selves. Li Tian apologized to his younger self for giving up English literature, yet he was content with his current life. He realized that aside from the path of dreams, there were still many other roads to take. When it was Chi-Chi's turn, she asked her past self whether she had lived up to her mother's expectations. Smiling, she acknowledged that her mother had gradually understood her and that her life was hers to decide. Du Man spoke to her past self, realizing she had found new friends among her old classmates and that her busy internship work had filled the void of loneliness. Facing Xin Yan, who once placed love above all else, she admitted that she had experienced the full spectrum of sweetness and bitterness in Gore relationships and could now devote herself wholeheartedly to her career. As for Song Kong, maturity meant accepting the ordinary version of himself, ready to bid farewell to the first-class ego of his past. Chen Huaner, once unsure about her future goals, now felt fulfilled simply by having the people she loved by her side. Perhaps friends can only accompany us for a short stretch of the journey, but even those brief paths make our lives more complete. That concludes the full story of the film. Thank you all for following along, goodbye, and see you next time.